Hello, Durud and Shalom. Guys, we haven't had a Rage live stream for a while. I haven't been following what this idiot and he said believes about the recent MOU and the negotiations. I can't imagine it would be good. Monkey, what do you think about Piers Morgan? What are your views on Piers Morgan before we get started?
I despise this scumbag.
Yeah?
Oh,
Why?
I'm about to chimp out because he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's being purposefully deceitful.
Purposefully deceitful. Okay, let's see today what he has to say about the MOU and Iran and the war and the Islamic Republic. Let's see. I have no idea where this is going to go. By the way, guys, let us know your opinions in the chat because I want to respond to what you guys have to say as well. But here, let me see. Let's play this.
Time to check in on how that's going. Joining us from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies is the former IDF spokesman, Jonathan Conricus, host of the Josh Hammer Show, Josh Hammer, the former Trump security advisor, Fred Flights, and the combat veteran and host of Speak the Truth podcast, Matt Tardio. Welcome to all of you. Jonathan Conricus, we had a little exchange on X this week where we're always quite civilized with each other when you come on my show. You're probably one of my most returning guests, I think, in the history of Uncensored. So I was a little bit surprised by the tone you took with me, but you're perfectly entitled to, obviously. But you got into categorizing this show. You said you and your endless list of lying and unhinged guests have had a vital part in creating and cementing the modern-day blood libels against the Jewish state and its military. Here are some of the more obvious ones. You talk about civilian v.
Monkey, you want to say something? Your mic is up.
No lies detected. Like everything, the way whoever this guy is who's describing a show is like just accurately describing it.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I love him. I love this guy. He used to be an IDF spokesperson. Now he's with FDD.
Combatants ratio, blame everything on Hamas. International starvation and Gaza is starving. You say this is all nonsense. Genocide and war crimes, none of that. Nothing to see here. Killing of journalists, no, they're all Hamas. You say I could go on and probably prove that every libel and lie against Israel made up by the United Nations, Al Jazeera, and so on, and countless others have gotten oversized amplification on your show by you and your list of rabid Jew haters. They keep getting invited on your show to spew their toxic lies. The numbers are plain and as simple as can be in modern war. The IDF has the best ratio on record in modern warfare. Even when you rely on Hamas's inflated numbers, Piers Morgan should stop peddling lies, propaganda, and libel against the only democracy in the Middle East that is keeping jihadists at bay. So I guess my first obvious question
That's another good point. Like you have to compare Israel to everyone around them. And when you compare them to everyone around them, yeah, based.
That was pretty accurate. Every single word. That was pretty good.
Why the fuck do you keep coming on my show? That's how you feel about it.
Are you? Oh my god! Why the fuck does he come on your show to respond to all the scumbags that you invite? Like, why wouldn't he? If you have a show that is designed to spread lies against Western values, United States and Israel, and defend all the most garbage people around the world and the most garbage ideas, then why wouldn't he come to your show and speak against them? That's the perfect opportunity to respond to all of this garbage. Like, why wouldn't he? What a fucking shit question. Okay, Monkey, go ahead. You wanted to say something. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Because I had to mute you because when I'm speaking, when your mic is open, I'm hearing your fan or whatever. So that's why I had to mute you. But go on.
I completely agree. I mean, if someone is offered, if you think you're the only one that's going to have a chance to argue against this, well, you take the chance. I do understand that some people might just get sick of it and not want to come back. I do understand that. It's like, look, I'm not pushing this rock up this hill. I'm not Sisyphus. This isn't Greece. I'm out. And some people may feel that way. Some people say, look, I'm going to take this as a job to take this position where I can at least have some pushback in this platform.
Yeah, perfectly. I mean, what does he think this is? This is like you got you. If you think my show is shit, then why do you come on? Because I clean up shit. I clean up your fucking shit. I'm here to clean up this garbage. That's why I come here. Because I come here because your show is shit. So that so at least somebody could come and provide the proper view.
Well, it keeps me sharper, and I enjoy the exchanges. But on a serious note, as you know very well, people watch your show, and it matters. You yourself have commented, and I think with the relevant level of satisfaction which you have earned, that you are an influential, very influential voice in the US, probably the most influential podcaster, a non-American podcaster, and a lot of people around the world listen to this for entertainment and information. And I see myself as someone who cares about my country, my military. I also care about truth. And I want to fight and I want to present an Israeli perspective, not necessarily the Israeli perspective. But I think that so far, what I've found on this channel, and I'll return your words of courtesy, I found that I've been able to speak and been given the opportunity to present that perspective. But I have to say, Piers, that I stand by my words. And of course, I'm not happy if you don't like them and if it is offensive.
No,
but
you're perfectly entitled. Let me be clear. You're perfectly entitled to your opinions. I just was under the mistaken belief that by constantly having you back on and many, 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 many other pro-Israeli guests, that we were having balanced debates between competing positions, competing people. Many people, as you know, have a similarly egregious view of you and the stuff you come out with.
I want to ask a question here. How many people are usually, against Israel versus how many are pro-Israel on these panels? Is it usually 3 against 1?
So the problem is that even if it's equal, they don't get treated equally. What Piers Morgan does, he pretends to have a show that is uncensored, and then he brings people with different views, right? And then the people who agree with him, he just lets them go on and on and on and on. And the people who come and disagree with him, he constantly interrupts them and he doesn't let them finish.
Hang on. Yeah. Is that what he does?
Exactly. That's exactly what he does. That's exactly what he does. And not only that, he uses other people. So, for example, if somebody, here's another thing he does. When somebody is saying something that he agrees with, if somebody interrupts them, he comes in and he moderates and he holds them back more often. But if somebody is saying something he disagrees with, then if somebody comes and interrupts him for Piers Morgan, he just lets it go on. He doesn't moderate. And when the other person complains that I'm being interrupted, Piers Morgan comes and both sides are like, oh, okay, both of you need to be civilized. Even though the person that was disagreeing with, like, for example, if somebody defending Israel and they get interrupted, they weren't interrupting the other person, but Piers Morgan comes out and acts like both of them. If he gets forced to stop the interruption, he acts like both sides were interrupting. So he's basically, it's a more advanced version of censorship. So it's not Piers Morgan uncensored. Is Piers Morgan making censorship look like uncensored?
That's two-tier moderation, more like two-tier policing in the UK. He's got two-tier moderation.
Perfect. Two-tier moderation. And yes, exactly. Perfectly said. That's a perfect summary of what happens here.
Yeah. A few times when I felt that's got too ad hominem. I was just surprised that you decided to lay into me for platforming people that you categorize everyone, it seems, who's criticized Israel as a Jew hater, right? Which I think is a grotesque mischaracterization of most of the people you're talking about. And I think that it also plays, to me, it plays into...
That's a straw man. He didn't say everyone. That's a straw man. You know what you're doing.
To this extremely insidious aspect of the whole debate since October the 7th, which is any criticism of Israel or any criticism of the IDF or any criticism of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Shut the fuck up. That's not what he's saying. That's a fucking strawman. You know he was not making clear. So it's interesting. Like, I could come here and say like, holy shit, that motherfucker who is saying, I don't know, Jews suck the blood of children is a Jew hater. And people will come like, oh, so you're saying any criticism of Israel is Jew hating? And I'm like, no, what the fuck? That person is literally saying that Jews suck the blood of children. Like, oh, Armin thinks that you cannot criticize Israel. That's basically the straw man that is happening here. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
The whole debate since October the 7th, which is any criticism of Israel or any criticism.
That is not at all. When the fuck did he once say that any criticism of Israel is Jew hatred? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Debate since October the 7th, which is any criticism of Israel or any criticism of the IDF or any criticism of Benjamin Netanyahu or his government, which contains some of the most disgusting headbangers in the history of governments anywhere in the world. I'm talking about Ben-Gvir, Smodrich, and others who openly advocate for burning Lebanon to the ground, who endorse these appalling, aggressive expansions.
Not even Ben-Gvir has said like something like that, but even and Ben-Gvir gets fucking constantly attacked by everybody in Israel. I mean, even Netanyahu came out and attacked him for some of his extreme positions. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, oh, you have Ben-Gvir and Smotrich saying this, and you cannot attack them. Everybody attacks them. Most of Israel attacks them. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Who comes out? Which one of these people is coming out and telling you that you're being anti-Semitic for attacking Ben-Gvir? Who the fuck are you talking about? What a fucking ridiculous straw man. Unbelievable.
Like, for the audience, what he's doing, he is creating a straw man. He is creating an easy position to attack, then attacking it, and pretending that the position that he created is the position of this person. Any is a very broad interpretation about what he is against. He is against like very specific blood libels, very specific accusations. He's not against all criticism, but he is against some pretty ridiculous criticism about Israel and some pretty forgiving or, delusional interpretations of what Hezbollah does and what Hamas does. Like, these are not nice people. These are people who infiltrate a nation and, are basically a colonizing force on the part of the IRGC. These people, like Lebanon, just signed a deal with Israel because they don't want to have Hezbollah there. Now, to say that it gives it such a broad interpretation to the straw man that you created that it makes the other person seem like, oh, is that what? Oh, so you are telling me this other person's position, and by what you're telling me, this other person's position is ridiculous. So that's what a straw man is. He is creating an easy position to attack and assigning that easy position to attack to this person. That's not this person's position, but he created a position for them that it was easy for him to attack. That's what a straw man is.
Amazing. That's a good one. All right.
Expansions of the settlements on the West Bank. You talk about getting all the Palestinians out of Gaza and so on. You know what I'm talking about. You dismiss them as irrelevant. One of them is the national security minister of your country. So yeah, I take exception, Jonathan, having always, I think, treated you fairly. I've interjected when I felt you've been treated in a particularly unpleasant ad hominem way. And to see you spray gunning your verdict on this show as presenting a platform for endless Jew haters to spread blood libels, and in the process, just disassociating yourself from any criticism that's come Israel's way.
That's a false equivalence.
Legitimate manner for a lot of.
That's a false equivalence. Just because I'm on doesn't mean that you're not letting a bunch of Jew-hating, libelous people, libel people in. Like, he is trying to assert the position. No, I'm not doing this because I'm letting you in. And because I'm letting you in, that means that your description of these other people is inaccurate. No. My being here or his being there does not mean that his description of those other people is inaccurate. Like, one doesn't cancel the other one out.
Yeah. Also, another thing is that it's not just that he brings them on; he brings them on and he agrees with them on the worst points. And also another point he's making here is like, oh, you're basically not criticizing yourself. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, when like, let me listen to this part.
Show as presenting a platform for endless Jew haters to spread blood libels, and in the process, just disassociating yourself from any criticism that's.
Like, what am I supposed to do when I'm criticizing somebody? Do I need to add a section under it where I criticize myself? Like, is that what his expectation is? Like, if I make a post on X making criticism of Piers Morgan, is it my responsibility to be like, okay, to be fair, here's a paragraph for criticism of me? Like, I don't understand what he wants them to do. Like, can you explain this?
I think it's a ridiculous position. He is trying to add another qualifier to the interaction that doesn't need to be there. Like, if I am talking about the type of people you're bringing on, that doesn't mean I have to like, oh, criticize myself. No. Forget what I say. Let's say you're totally fair. Just pretend he's totally fair, right? And you know, he's pretty much just sits in the background and eats popcorn. It doesn't take away from the fact that you are that he's given an accurate description of the people that are coming on. To then say that he has to somehow also give both positions on his arguments is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, yeah.
Come Israel's way in a perfectly legitimate manner for a lot of the awful things, frankly, that the Israeli government has been allowing to happen on its watch in the last 4 years was incredibly disappointing. Because I'm like, if
like right there,
everyone that could.
He's showing bias. All the awful things that the Israeli government has done. Like, he's already taking a position. He's not saying there is a possibility that Hamas is lying. There is a possibility that they're faking some of these videos, that some of these children affected by the chemicals they're children affected by your inbreeding. That's what's affecting these children. It's not the chemicals. It's not the famine or the starvation. It's something else completely. Some people call it Pollywood. Or like Bollywood, but about Palestine, where they're faking these videos. And there's lots of evidence that these videos are fake and faking the data. So he once two positions are had, he consistently takes one position. Like, I find it hard to go against Israel in some regards. Like, my biggest criticism is they're too nice. But you know what? I'm sure that's not a criticism that Piers Morgan is going to have.
Yeah, also, Jonathan here has criticized Israel plenty himself. Plenty of times. There are many times that he came out and said, this is a policy of Israel that I disagree with. So again, Piers Morgan is being very dishonest. Very dishonest.
Criticizes you or the IDF or Netanyahu or Israel or the Israeli government is an automatic Jew hater. That, to me, is the worst thing of this whole debate from day one. There is no correlation for me between criticizing something you say or Netanyahu says, or particularly Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, or criticizing the IDF when I think they deserve it, that makes me a Jew hater. So I just was surprised.
Right.
Why do that? Why be so frankly pathetic?
I don't think I am. And if you'll allow me, I want to reply to what you said. First things first.
You know what people should do? He should say, if you allow me, and if you please let me finish without interrupting me, and you could respond to me after I finish. He needs to say that, because if Jonathan gets really good right now at smacking Piers Morgan, so let's let Jonathan finish. But if he gets really good and Piers feels humiliated, he's going to get really tempted to jump in and not let Jonathan finish. But it's good that he started with allow me to make my point. But let's see if Piers
preempt his action. Like, I know you're going to interrupt me, so let me say you're going to interrupt me and then talk. Yes. So when you interrupt me, you're basically just falling into a trap.
Exactly. So let's see how he does.
I want to reply to what you said. First things first. when I say, on this show, as you said, I've been on a few times, and on this show,
You've been on dozens of times, to be clear.
Oh my God! It didn't last 3 fucking seconds. Did you see? I know he couldn't handle it. He can't handle it. He went on a monologue with 0 interruptions. And then when it's Jonathan's turn, he couldn't hold on for 3 fucking seconds.
Hang on. It was exactly 3 seconds. He did reach 3 seconds, but only 3 seconds.
Unfucking believable. Isn't he so fucking predictable? He's so fucking predictable. How dare you call yourself Piers Morgan Uncensored? This is the most censored show that I ever watch. Like I don't watch even Islamic Republic State fucking TV doesn't censor as much as Piers Morgan, and I'm being honest here. It doesn't as much as Piers Morgan. This is retarded.
Hang on. What if the purpose of the show is to present a very censored show, but try to teach the audience that this kind of one-sided debate is uncensored? What if you're just trying to train the audience into thinking that this is not a censored show? You understand what I'm saying? Like, oh no, he knows he's being very censorious, but he's trying to put out there the idea that the way he's approaching it and the way he's doing it is something acceptable as something that is uncensored. That's my conspiracy theory.
I know. I mean, and what he just did basically negates everything that he said before, because it's like I have all sorts of people on. I have Jew haters on. I have IRGC sympathizer on. I have people with fucking retards from the commie left and the far right and the woke right, and all the people with the most garbage ideas here. But I also have people with your ideas, okay? But this is how you treat them. This is 2-tier moderating, okay? So you bring people with the proper views on your show, but you don't let them fucking speak as much. So you just let the people with the garbage, anti-patriotic, anti-Western, anti-Israeli views to finish their fucking point. But these other people that you bring on as a way to try to act like you are being fair to people, those people, you don't let them fucking finish their fucking points.
I think so in the chat, someone named Sohar says 2-tier peers. I think that applies. I think we should call them, now that 2-tier Kier is gone, we still have to 2-tier peers. I just want to, I just applaud that. Thank you very much. That is a good nickname for him.
That is fantastic. Good job, Zohar's. That is good. Hashtag 2-tier peers. Perfect. Perfectly said. And
we got a super chat.
We will get to them. I want to get to them back.
Thank you, Fleshy.
So, thank you, Fleshy. We'll get to them. Oh no, actually, let me get to them now because it might be relevant. So Fleshy gave us 2 super chats. One of them is saying Piers is playing to viewers with anti-Israel views. Exactly. That's exactly what he's doing, because he's saying that the money is in hating Jews. So he's jumping on that bandwagon.
The grift.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, that was good. So I'll get to the other super chat later. I'm thinking of doing the super chats back to back, letting them pile up and then doing them back to back. Let me know if that works better for you guys. Yeah. Look at this. This is a good comment. Imagine. Thank you, citizen. Saying, imagine Armin on Piers Morgan. He would destroy Piers. I know, right? I know, like that's why they won't have me.
Look, I think if they ever considered it, they would notice that you would attack the very formula that he's using to instill bias and propagandize certain viewpoint.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's one thing. I think it's one thing for somebody to come and challenge him, but it's another thing to come to attack the entire model. So I think because Piers Morgan his team was told to bring me on, right? Like I know that for I have information that, and I think they researched me and they're like, okay, this guy is going to basically give up the entire game here to everybody, so he's too dangerous to bring on. Yeah, but pressure him on X to have me on. Pressure his team.
On this show, as you said, I've been on a few times, and on this show,
You've been on dozens of times, to be clear, on a show that you think just platforms Jew haters.
This is really getting tiresome, Pierce. If you're not going to talk about Iran, I'm just going to log off.
I couldn't.
You made your point. Let's move on.
I don't give a monkey's what you want to do. If you want to log off, log off.
All right, wait.
All right, well,
Hey,
log
don't
off.
get me
Fine.
involved. Why is he talking
Carry on.
about me? Getting monkeys involved. He doesn't give a monkeys. Hey, watch out, Piers. You're gonna make me chimp out over here. What you talking about monkeys? You don't know nothing about monkeys.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So that guy quit. So he was frustrated because what is this? He's like, I think the other guy was frustrated because he was told we're going to be talking about Iran, and Piers is talking about his personal beef with Jonathan. So he left. Okay.
They do that sometimes. Like I've heard from other people, hey, they tell you that this is gonna happen, and when you get there, it's something else.
Something else. Yeah, exactly.
Jonathan.
I'll try to be brief. And
Anybody else wants to
respectful of
log
the
off?
others
I
here.
will come to other guests, but if anybody else wants to log off, I don't think it's surprising that I would want to have this out with Jonathan.
This is, you know what's happening? This is another good excuse for Piers to eat into Jonathan's response time, right? So he had his own monologue. So now that guy quit, let me talk about that a little bit more, and basically not let Jonathan make his fucking point again and reduce his time to response. Again, interrupting again. Stop. Oh my, yeah, exactly. Oh my god, stop fucking interrupting. Jonathan is trying to. If this is the second time Jonathan is trying to make his point, and you interrupted him again.
Even what he said on a public platform about me and the show. So I'm going to finish that conversation, then I'll come to the other guests.
Yeah. So being respectful of others and the time, I'll try to be concise. One, on this show, you have had a long list of people who I deem are hypocrites. Why do I think that they are hypocrites? And why do I think that their criticism of Israel is actually a facade, a front for good old-fashioned Jew hatred? Is because all of the topics that they allegedly care about, civilians in war, Christians being wounded or maltreated, journalists having a bad day at the office or even getting wounded or, God forbid, killed, and humanitarian aid, international law, media freedom, a long list, international war and the ratio of non-combatants versus combatants killed in urban warfare, terrorism, sexual violence. The list is very long, and so many of the people who have been repeat offenders on this show, Anna Kasparian, Cenk Ugyur, Mehdi Hassan, and many others have gotten this powerful platform, and they haven't had to face questions like me. They've been given free rein to spew, frankly.
Absolute
hatred,
nonsense. That I've always
hatred.
challenged.
Shut the fuck up! He's not finished making his point. You
Okay.
were saying absolute nonsense multiple fucking times, and he did not interrupt you. Mute your mic, Monkey, before I'm finished. He did not interrupt you a single fucking time, even though everything you were saying is fun. This is the third fucking time you're interrupting him. This is why you're censored. This is what, if Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur, if they were here, you wouldn't fucking interrupt them. You would let them spew their fucking garbage. Their fucking anti-Jewish, anti-Israeli garbage. Only when you're being humiliated by somebody that is making a good point do you come and interrupt them. He didn't interrupt you. Why the fuck are you interrupting him? Go on, Monkey.
Okay, so the IDF guy did make one mistake. The name is Chunk Yogurt. Okay, get it right. Chunk Yogurt. Not Ugurt. No. Chunky yogurt. Chunky, expired, fat yogurt. Chunk yogurt.
Unbelievable. This is fucking crazy. This is insane. Like, this is why those other garbage people are like saying absolute nuts. No, they don't get challenged. They don't get interrupted the way you're interrupting
given
Jonathan.
free reign to spew, frankly.
Absolute
hatred.
nonsense. That I've always
Hatred
challenged them
against
from day
Israel.
one. In fact, as you know, for the first year after October the 7th, I was getting widely criticized in a vicious way by the other side, right? By the pro-Palestinian.
That doesn't prove anything. The other side gets offended over you saying that rape is bad. Hamas shouldn't have raped Israelis. It's really easy to piss those people off. In fact, just pissing them off doesn't mean that you're not spreading anti-Israeli garbage out there. Like, and this is what you guys do on purpose. You just say some obvious things that are wrong. That you basically point out some obvious evil that everybody knows. Like, oh my God, yeah, maybe we shouldn't, I don't know, burn children alive. And then the other side, like, oh, fuck you. Like, oh, look, so I'm being attacked by them. So that means that you can't accuse me of being anti-Israeli. Fuck off.
Palestinian side who felt it was outrageous that I was defending Israel's right to defend itself or moral duty to defend itself after October the 7th, which I still
And I
believe.
remember you
Also, another point is that back then, after October 7th, Piers Morgan saw that the money is in coming out and being like, oh, guys, Hamas bad. That's where the money was for a very short amount of time. So that's why you were there. But then, as we predicted, everything switched soon after, and now the money is back on attacking Israel. So if you were being attacked back then, was because the money was in attacking the people who did October 7th, which lasted only this long. And then as soon as you saw that now the money is in attacking Israel, you switch sides immediately.
It's like saying,
right to do. Right, so
Go on.
it's like saying, oh, you know what? I didn't rob the bank 5 years ago, so that's absolutely perfectly evident that I didn't rob the bank yesterday because look at the videotape from 5 years ago. I wasn't there, right? Just that because you didn't do something before, that doesn't mean you're not doing it now.
Perfectly stated. Perfectly stated.
itself after October the 7th, which I still
And I
believe
remember you
it had a
asking a lot
fundamental
of
right to
people-
do. Right, so
Yeah.
I've been attacked by both sides. The surprise with you, Jonathan, is that you have come on this platform more than any of them. And I've always been fair-minded to you. And yet you decided to disparage the show, to trash the show, trash me by association, and brand pretty much anyone that you don't agree with about this. And bear in mind
No,
the
that isn't what I've
subtext,
said,
which is
Piers.
Shut up! He's wanting to interrupt you now. You interrupted him, so let him interrupt you.
one that you don't agree with about this. And bear in mind
No,
bear
that
in mind the
isn't what I've
subtext,
said,
which is
Piers.
that
Piers,
that
that
Israel
isn't what
has
I
been
have
getting
said.
He is doing-
becoming increasingly.
He is doing exactly what he says is being done about Israel. Any criticism of Israel, you understand, is anti-Jewish. No, any criticism of Piers' show is anti-Piers, apparently, right? So he's doing the same thing. The same thing. He's being a complete hypocrite, right? Because any criticism of the show now just means you're like, a Piers hater, right? And he does deserve his hate far more than Israel, right? For what he's doing right here. But he is literally doing the same thing, right? He's not accepting any of these criticisms, right, of the guests because they're not even of him. He's saying this show has terrible guests. Like, I'm guessing this person would like better opposition because there are maybe, sometimes it's good to have terrible opposition because it kind of steelmans you. But I'm guessing even he would like better oppositions, better arguments against his point. And he's not getting that. What he's getting is like pure dribble. So he's doing the same thing. Any criticism of Piers Morgan is just, you can't do that because that's Piers hating or something.
That's a perfect point. That was really well stated.
A global pariah. And one of the reasons for that, which I find incredibly dispiriting as somebody who has a lot of Jewish friends and who's always supported Israel.
Oh, I have Jewish friends. Oh, but that means okay. Wow.
A global pariah. Oh my God. His struggle. Oh, he's carrying such a big cross over here. A global pariah.
Oh. This is like I have some black friends, so I can't be racist kind of argument.
It's right to exist. It's right to defend itself. All of those things. The most dispiriting thing is
You look at the standard that they have here. Okay, so these people, this is the most strategic way of attacking Israel. Okay, so you could go say that, hey, Israel is committing genocide, Israel is killing children, Israel is apartheid, Israel is filled with racists, and like, holy fucking shit, you're a garbage anti-Israeli person. And you're like, well, I think Israel has the right to exist. So that's your defense. Like, so basically, we should reward you. We should recognize you being fair because you think Israel shouldn't be fucking annihilated. You think that when Israel has a right to defend itself, you mean like every other fucking country? So you deserve credit for saying that this country that exists here should have a standing army? Like, that's what you want credit for? Like, imagine if somebody said like, yeah, fuck America. America is Western imperialism. America is a racist country. Americans are a bunch of like murdering fuckers and stuff like that. And I'm like, holy fuck. And I burned the American flag and this and that. And I'm like, holy fucking shit, you're anti-American, aren't you? And he's like, well, I think it should be America should exist. Right? Like, is that your defense? Like, I'm not saying annihilate all Americans. I'm not saying kill every American out there. Oh, well, thank you for not saying that. Good job. What the fuck? Yeah.
Like one of the things that Piers likes to do here is I'd like to give an example of I did the bare minimum, right? So let's say this person is, instead of attacking Israel, they're taking care of a baby, but is being abused. The baby's getting no food, right? So Piers would jump in there, but you gave him water. It's like, okay, that's not enough. Doing the bare minimum is not enough. It's still abuse of the kid, right? That's the kind of argument. Wait a minute. What about the water? Water is very important. Do you know how much water humans need? That's not the point, motherfucker. There's a lot of points that you're not touching on because you're standing on this one point. Bare minimum.
Yeah. Imagine if I go like say Piers Morgan is a child rapist. And people are like, what the fuck, Armin? Why are you saying against Piers Morgan? I'm like, well, I'm not saying we should kill him. That's basically what he's saying. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
This constant refrain that any criticism immediately is actually about Jew hatred.
No, it isn't.
It is.
Jonathan criticizes Israel. You fucking shit. You fucking shit. Jonathan himself has a history. This man that you're accusing of saying that any criticism of Israel is Jew hatred. If he says that, if he believes that, then why on earth he himself criticizes Israel? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not.
Immediately is actually about Jew hatred.
No, it isn't.
It is an appalling. You talk about blood libels. That right there is a blood libel.
When it is repeated, and I'm not going to be in a contest here. You've got the mic. You're in the studio. I'm not even going to try to compete with your mic. I just want to say this: when people are given continuous platforms to come with their tired. With Mehdi Hassan, he's basically repeating Hamas propaganda, doing it in English and adapting it to a Western audience. And you have Anna Kasparian, and you have Cenk, and you have all other matters of people who have come here. And
what about all the pro-Israeli?
Shut up! Oh my God! Constant interruptions. Oh fucking hell, man! This person.
Guests I've had.
We predicted this. I didn't know what's going to happen, but it was so obvious. He cannot stop himself. When he is being humiliated, when his ass is being handed over to him, and like when he's being destroyed in front of his own audience, then he has to come in. He has to interrupt.
All other matters of people who have come here.
And what about all the pro-Israeli guests I've had? Not just you, but Alan Dershowitz and a string of others who've come on.
Which you constantly interrupt.
To argue and debate with all those people you're talking about.
Which are like, oh, what about all the pro-Israeli peoples that I invite? Yeah, we're seeing that right now. This guy's pro-Israeli. You're not letting him speak. You're not letting him speak. That's what you do to the pro-Israeli people.
Not only that, He's not letting them speak and then gaslighting them about it being a platform that he provides. Right? Oh, I have you here as window dressing. I have you here as a token, but I'm not going to allow you to speak. I'm going to let everybody interrupt you, and I'm not going to stop them. But if you interrupt anyone else, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to let them speak, but when it's your time to speak, I'm going to interrupt you. So what I'm going to do is have you here as a token, as a window dressing to create the facade of fairness, but I'm not going to be fair. And the way that this lack of fairness is going to express itself is by me allowing other guests to interrupt you. If you interrupt another guest, I'm going to stop you, right? And when you speak to me, I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
When you say that I, cast aside the entire show and that anybody who criticizes Israel is illegitimate, definitely not.
Well, that's
And
pretty much what you said on your expos.
No, on your show, you have heard me say several times direct criticism of the IDF, of wrongdoings, of the Israeli government, of various ministers who I think have made horrible mistakes and distasteful comments and been part of very negative developments. And I have said that clearly, unequivocally. When Israel, by mistake, hit a humanitarian, the World Kitchen convoy, by mistake, misidentified them for Hamas terrorists, we struck them. I wasn't spokesperson then, but I said clearly, this shouldn't have happened. And I'm happy that an Israeli
Well, by your
officer
criteria, then you must
was
be
reprimanded.
in that case, you must be a Jew hater spreading blood libels. Anyway, let's move on.
He didn't say that. He fucking didn't say that. You piece of shit. What a garbage of a human being Piers Morgan is. What a fucking garbage of a person he is. Go on.
This is using him as a virtue signal. His virtue towards Jewish people by having this person on. He doesn't actually let this person speak. He doesn't actually allow this person to engage in debates with the other, constantly interrupt this person. But because he is having him on the platform, now he is using him as a virtue signal and a defense against people that would accuse him. He's like, no, you're not here to talk. When you talk, I'm going to interrupt you. You're not here to debate anyone else. When you do, I'm going to interrupt you. You are here to be my virtue signal, my token Jew, my window dressing. You're here to cover up what I'm doing here. You're just here as a virtue signal, a window dressing token. That's your position here. Your position here is not to state your point. You're here to give me credibility. That's it. That's all you're doing here. So I believe that's what's going on here. I believe that's why he has the guests on the as. It's not choice. It's the illusion of choice. It's not a fair debate. It's the illusion of a fair debate. It's just virtue signaling and window dressing and tokenism when you treat the guest with an opposing view in this matter. I mean, that's what I believe.
To the reason for this debate, and my apologies to other guests thank you for being patient, but I had to, better out than in, as my mother would say, when somebody takes it upon themselves to attack you in public. So I've done it. All right, Josh Hammer.
You did a very poor job. You embarrassed yourself even more.
All you guys have been supportive of this war on Iran. And my position from the start is the Iranian regime is despicable. I loathe it. I think it's been responsible for support.
Wow, guys, terrorists are bad. People who kill people, their citizens and tens of unarmed citizens in the tens of thousands are bad. Guys, do we have an official baker in the chat? Who's our official baker? Give this motherfucker a cookie. He thinks that the regime that kills tens of thousands of unarmed civilians in a matter of hours are bad. So that means he's unbiased for stating the fucking obvious. Lioch is our official baker. Is she here?
Terrorists all over the Middle East, from Hamas to Hezbollah to the Houthis. I think it's
okay. This guy is giving him a banana. Okay, when Lioch is not here, maybe we can.
Wait, no. That banana's for me. Okay.
Oh, banana. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. Guys, when Monkey makes good points, put bananas in the chat. Is that a good idea?
I'm okay with it. I'll lean into it 100%. No problem at all. I think
All right, guys.
this guy should have a mug that says, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. Someone said a Piers Tears mug, but I think a mug that says, hang on, hang on. Every time he starts interrupting, you lift the mug, hang on, hang on, hang on. He puts it out there. That would be so funny.
An appalling regime. But I also felt this war was utterly misguided from day one, that it had a real chance of empowering the regime rather than destroying it. And from where I sit right now, 4 months in, I'm pretty unconvinced that I wasn't right to be extremely concerned.
That's, oh my, 4 months? Are you fucking, first of all, you have no fucking idea. I mean, maybe you do, as Monkey says, but you're being dishonest about it. But are you fucking kidding me? Have you not seen what has happened to the Islamic Republic? Have you not seen how devastated they are? Have you not seen the collapse of their soft power, their standing among their own supporters, their internal division, the collapse of their economy, the absolute destruction of most of their military in 4 months? What the fuck did you expect would happen in 4 months? This is the greatest amount of progress I've ever seen in any military operation in 4 fucking months. And on top of that, the negotiations and the MOU and the ceasefire is doing more damage on top of all of that, in addition to whatever we achieved with the military operation. So fuck you.
I'd like to add to that what's going on with the proxies being defanged, the operations going on in Iraq towards the corruption that the IRGC has fomented in there. What's going on with Lebanon? Historic, negotiations with Lebanon and Israel coming together against this proxy colonizing force from the IRGC. I think many advances have been made that are just being ignored, or purposely so, by platforms like the Piers Morgan Show.
Yeah, perfectly stated.
That is what's happened. Are you still as steadfast that you think this war was a good idea?
Well, Piers, I believe the last time I was on your show a couple weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, I did criticize some aspects of the handling of this war and the way that the ceasefire, in my opinion, was called prematurely on April 8th. So let me just back up a little bit. I think that what happened here is you had the president of the United States, who, if I'm just guessing, I think he was feeling a little cocky, frankly, after his successes on the world stage in the first, let's call it 13 months of his tenure in office in the second term, especially when it came to Venezuela and the staggering success of Operation Absolute Resolve and the midnight capturing of Nicolas Maduro from his Cuban military guarded compound there in Caracas, Venezuela. And he was looking at this horrific regime, as you rightly called, in Tehran, which was gunning down tens and tens of thousands of people in the streets. And he probably thought this would be a little bit easier than it has ended up being. Now, Epic Fury did get off to an absolutely amazing start. There was the decapitation strike of the Ayatollah Khamenei and a lot of other heavyweights there. And there was staggering success in the opening weeks of this campaign. It remains my judgment to this day that if some decisions had been made to not prematurely cause a ceasefire, but when you have the enemies, when you have your foot on their throat, on the jugular, it doesn't make sense to go ahead and then just take it off for no reason, for no gain whatsoever.
I mean, there are 3 points here that he's not taking into account. First of all, if the number of missile interceptors that you have gets too low, it would be irresponsible for you to continue using them, given that the United States has other enemies, and with not enough stockpile of missile interceptors, you will be putting Americans at a lot of risk, given that you don't know what's going to happen somewhere else in the world. That's one. Two, a couple of months before the midterm elections, if you continue with these military operations and you keep the gas prices high, you're basically gifting the Democrats even a bigger win than is predicted in the midterms, meaning that after that, you wouldn't be able to do anything when it comes to military operations because the Democrats would have so much of an upper hand in the Senate and in Congress that they could basically put so much barriers in your way so you wouldn't be able to do anything after that. So a couple of months before the midterms, you had to bring oil prices down. And third of all, again, if you don't know this, come talk to me and ask me because I am seeing what the negotiations and the ceasefire, the MOU, is doing to the Islamic Republic internally. And I could argue, I could show you that the damage is similar, if not more, than the damages caused to the Islamic Republic by military operation. The damage to their soft power and the internal division that that's causing is even more significant than the damage caused by the military operation. The military operations was needed to cause the power vacuum that causes all of this division, but together they're working beautifully. And then the last thing is what Monkey pointed out is that even during the ceasefire, the Americans are not just sitting back and watching, they're defanging the Islamic Republic in Iraq and in Lebanon as we're speaking. So they're taking advantage of the ceasefire to go get busy in other places, cut out the tentacles of the Islamic Republic in other areas. So those are the 4 points that you need to be adding.
I would also like to take into account what has been done to free the people that Iran took hostage inside the Persian Gulf to get all those tankers. That's a lot of hard work that went into that. So those people were being freed by America this whole time. It's still going on. The normalization of trade. A lot of these nations, literally, like people who are against oil don't understand. Like you can't get a Tesla in Africa. You're not going to get a Tesla in the Philippines. There's like some of these people literally will die if they don't have oil. They don't have like this electric alternative that you have in your coastal city, right? So that's an important point. And the economic fury is also a point where you're cutting off the economic ties to these proxy groups and punishing any country that dares deal with them. There's another point that was brought by Robin Pierce. When can we start paying for your content? We're trying to get to monetization. I'm about 30% there. So I'm shamelessly taking this opportunity to plug my channel, but I thank you for the question. I am trying to bring some good points, like the point of the things that are going around these ceasefires, the things that are going around these talks, because there is this fallacy that we're doing nothing is ridiculous. During the whole time that there has been a ceasefire, there have been operations going with economic fury. There has been a blockade. There has been moves made all over. These Persian Gulf states have been brought together. They've been there's significant moves happening all over the map, and people love to ignore that.
Yeah, great point. I put the link to Monkey's channel in the chat, so go subscribe there. Let's continue.
Frankly, what's happened here?
Well, you know why that happened, right? I mean, just to jump in there, it was very crystal clear to Donald Trump as this dragged on that there were two wars going on. There was the military war, where America and Israel were pounding Iran's military and having big success doing it. Meanwhile, the Iranian regime has worked out the Strait of Hormuz is their most effective weapon. And they just closed it down, holding the entire world over an energy barrel and simultaneously whacking missiles off at the Gulf state neighbors, causing them enormous problems too. So they were fighting a different war.
That's a lie. That's an absolute lie, because what happened was that the market adjusted to safer options to get that oil from other places. The spike was never as pronounced as $1.50, $2 a barrel. I think at its max it was about 112 or something like that. I don't think it even reached 125. So there wasn't this large spike that he's talking about. So when he's talking about having the world over, a barrel, I tell you who was over a barrel: China. And China's not our friend. China is the funder of the IRGC, the provider of weapons, the provider of surveillance against the Iranian people is China, and those are the people who suffered the most here. It wasn't it wasn't the world's energy markets. The world's energy markets did have to adjust. The suffering that was had with some tankers being stuck, yes, that was a problem, but it's the problem that was continuously resolved by the U.S. Navy, slowly and surely getting all those people to safety. So this false equivalence that Iran has some kind of power, that now that they were able to close the strait, no. What was shown is that it's the USA who can actually hold the blockade longer and make Iran have to come to the table, even if they have to do it, behind closed doors, so their people won't tear them apart.
Oh yeah, pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good.
And
Oh,
Trump,
by the way, look at this. Oil prices dropped below 72. This is crazy. Month over month is down 17%. This is a huge success for Americans. Like, I don't know what Piers Morgan is, what the fuck is he watching, but this has been an absolute success for the Americans.
I believe what needs to be hammered home is that they've also been all this time lower than under Biden, and most prices on everything have been lower than under Biden, which is a message they have to get out during the midterms. If there's any flaw in what the American military did, is they were too damn good in Venezuela. It was so good and so fast that people thought that this could be done everywhere fast. And you know what? That was a special case. You can't be that fast everywhere. And, it's hard to say that my criticism is that someone is too good, but that's as close as I can get, right? Like, obviously, if it were up to me, we'd be back, to the boom boom times. But, we got to resupply. There's things we got to do. Armin covered some of this. So, yeah, the only flaw here is we were too good in Venezuela. And now people think you could just do that everywhere. It doesn't work that way everywhere.
Yeah.
eventually work this out, right? So all the warmongers in his administration who were urging him to keep going, it's like, well, you can, but it's crippling the economy and it's paralyzing the global and
crippling the economy. What is he looking at? Crippling the economy. The job market is unbelievably beyond everyone's wildest expectations. Oil prices have dropped 17%. S&P 500 is up 21% year over year. Holy fucking shit. Like every time I look at this, I get he's too excited. Look at that. What is he looking at? What is he inflation is lower than people expected. Job markets are better than people expected. The stock markets are every week are reaching historic highs. So what is he looking at?
I think he's looking not at America, like in all these European places that they have their European regulations. They don't want to touch nuclear. They're doing everything wrong, right? Within their policies, within their economy, within their tax system. Oh, they're suffering a lot. Like the loss of that energy import is very bad for them. But that's a lot to do with their terrible, terrible local. And this sometimes happens in the U.S. too, where some places in the U.S., they're not feeling as much of the relief. But the reason they're not feeling as much as the relief is because they are ruled by Democrats. And the Democrats put in a lot of regulation that's overburdensome. They put a lot of barriers to entry for new job creators. And they take a higher tax cut. So everyone leaves. Like everybody's leaving New York. So you're not going to find a lot of growth in jobs there. But that's not because something is being done wrong in the war or the markets. It's because of the local policies. So when he's talking about people not feeling it, well, maybe they're not feeling it because the place where you are, your rule sucks. You're being ruled by a bunch of lefties that are an impediment to business, an impediment to growth, an impediment to actual labor, because labor is a deal made between the employee and the employer. Like this third party coming in and trying to, dip its beak in and get its cut and assert some kind of dominance because that's how they think they're doing good. That's the problem you're having. That's where you're not seeing growth. Anywhere with a fair market, anywhere with a fair labor deal where you can deal more directly with your employee, those places like that, it's going great.
Perfectly stated. Okay, let's continue.
energy economy. And somebody's going to have to give here. I think that's why he did it.
Look, so shutting down the Strait of Hormuz is the first thing that the regime does in literally every war game that's ever been war game between the United States and the Islamic Republic of Iran. So that was easily foreseeable since day one. I think that there were some other missteps along the way. So one, again, getting back to Venezuela, we probably overestimated the extent to which the United States could just go into Venezuela and to take those Venezuelan oil assets, combine them with our abundant assets here in the United States, and then to make up for the oil shortfall caused by the closure of the strait.
But you did.
Simultaneously, I think we probably expect a little bit more help.
Oil prices never reached anything above $130 per barrel. It went to 120 only for like 5 fucking seconds, and then it was mostly below 100
from, among other entities, NATO, and also our Sunni Gulf Arab allies, who were not really doing a whole lot on the ground. They looked at this joint American-Israeli operation and basically decided to not get involved as well. So there were various things that could have happened. But fundamentally, my criticism is that when you go back to the April 8th ceasefire and then continue through this whole MOU ordeal, which is still going as we speak today, it kind of has the feel, Piers. I know you're a soccer fan or a football fan, I guess you would say over there, and this is during the World Cup. It kind of has the feel of going back onto the pitch after a halftime lead, let's call it 4-0, 5-0, and then essentially just begging for a draw. And I'm just not entirely sure that is the proper mentality, whether it comes to the World Cup, whether it comes to any sport, or frankly, whether it comes to matters of war and peace as well.
Okay, Matt Tadia, welcome back to Uncensored. Where's your head with this war with Iran and the apparent deal, which is not a deal yet?
Yeah, I think the memorandum of understanding sucks, to be quite frank. And then I'd have to turn around and I have to ask you, what is your opinion? What an actual victory with Iran for the United States would look like? I can state the United States goals, but I'm curious, in your opinion, Pierce, what you think an actual victory would look like.
Well, I just think it doesn't. To me, it doesn't look. It can't be gained purely on military firepower.
That wasn't the fucking question. He asked you what victory looks like. You're saying that victory cannot only be gained with military firepower. I mean, doesn't that negate your own fucking point? If it can't be gained only with military firepower, maybe then therefore the military firepower and the economic pressure plus the negotiations is the combination of what we need. So that negates your own point, and you're not you're not answering the fucking question.
Causing enormous damage to Iran's Navy, Air Force, and so on, for the reasons I've outlined.
Totally
in other words,
so this guy made a mistake. You made a mistake. Like, it was your turn to speak, and you asked Piers Morgan a question. So now he's going to use that opportunity to now go on in his monologue, and he's going to eat in your time, and you're not going to be able to make any of your own points.
So what's the victory? What's the victory in your mind?
Well, I'm not sure, because to me,
okay, if you're not sure, then shut the fuck up. If you don't know what victory looks like, how could you tell that you're not achieving victory if you don't even have a sense what victory would look like?
Goals were originally going to be regime change. There was a belief driven by the Israelis.
That wasn't a stated goal, Pierce.
Well,
Pierce,
it was actually. It actually was by.
No, it was never stated that was what. He's lying. He's fucking lying.
It's literally lying.
He's literally lying. Like, not a single time they came out and said our goal is regime.
The Israelis.
That wasn't a stated goal, Pierce.
Well,
Pierce,
it was actually. It actually was by.
No.
Well, Donald Trump
when
actually
did Donald Trump state that was an actual goal?
It was one of the things he talked about at the very start of the war, right?
Oh my God! Talking about regime change is different from saying they stated that their goal is regime change. Just the mere mentioning of regime change makes it so that the official position of the White House is that our goal is regime change. Are you fucking kidding me? So just by so they cannot talk, they cannot use the words regime change, and if they do, that becomes a stated goal. Like, they talked about it. Yeah, they fucking talked about regime change. They never said that that's their goal. Do you not know the difference?
That's how you move the goalpost and put in a lie. So how do you pass the lie? How do you excuse the lie? You said, well, they talked about it. It's still a lie. He knows he's lying. He knows that wasn't a goal. Like, he's not stupid. He's evil. He knows this was never a goal. Like, yes, he also talked about it not being a goal. Like many times he stated it not being a goal. So how do you magically only remember the times he said, well, the regime did change because we wiped out the first and second layer, which what he's talking about is leadership, right? There's two ways to define a regime. One is the leadership, and the other is the party, the structural parties that controls the government. Right now, the structural party that controls the government in America is the Republican Party. That's the regime. Like if God forbid it, something happened to Trump, the regime wouldn't change. The administration wouldn't change. It would still be in power. That's one definition. The other definition is the heads of state. Like, who is the regime? Well, the regime is now Marco, Vance, and Trump. Basically, those are like the top three. Right. So there's some differentiation here, but it was never stated as a goal, which is the main point here. It was discussed as far as have some people been eliminated? Yes, some layers have been eliminated. Is that the goal? No, it was repeatedly stated that that was not the goal. If it happens, it happens, but that's not the goal. Right. So I think he's being purposefully deceitful here. I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think he's just forgetting, because he would have to like remember a lot of stuff and forget a lot of stuff to make this point.
Zohar saying he's not stupid, he's evil. Quoting you, saying monkey is awesome. I love when he speaks. She also gave you some bananas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. But okay. But then we got it. Here's a good question. Somebody saying you don't ultimately think Trump wants regime change. Okay, so wanting something and making that your goal is different. So let me actually explain what I mean. Right. So imagine if you have a company and I say like, okay, what's your goal? And you say my goal is for my company to get to $10 million in revenue, annual revenue by next year. All right, so that's your goal. Does that mean that if you reach 50 million, is that not, would you, so if I say like, well, wouldn't you want 50 million? Like obviously if your goal is 10 million, it doesn't mean that you wouldn't want 50 million annual revenue. Yes, you would like 50 million, but that is not your goal. Your goal is 10 million. If you get 50 million annual revenue, that is a desire. That would be something that you would like, very much so. But something is different from the goal that you have set for your operations. Does that make sense? Is that a good example? Let me know if that
makes perfect sense. You're not going to throw those other 40 million into the garbage. You're going to keep that game.
Okay. Yeah, like, oh no, our goal was 10 million annually and we have like 50 million. That wasn't our goal. So yeah, you're going to appreciate that goal. All right, let's continue. Great analogy. Okay, great. Thank you, Nyla.
And that's the problem. Then he changed the goalpost.
Let's stay. No,
but hang on. Let me finish.
Intellectually honest.
This is you made a mistake. You basically opened the door for him to come in and just now do his own thing. This guy is not going to let you make your point anymore.
Oh, then he changed the goalpost.
Let's stay. But
hang on. Let me
stay
finish.
Intellectually honest.
Finish my answer to you.
Intellectually honest, Pierce. A reporter had asked him about it, and he had responded by stating that it would be good.
Yeah.
But he never stated it was a goal. And as a matter of fact, we can go back and we can reference a report that actually got put out by Donald Trump turning down specifically regime change.
Let me finish my answer to you. So he stated it would be a good thing, which many people took to mean he wanted regime change. He also had been very public about
this is another false analogy. The question is what goal, not what many people take to mean. When you're doing a meeting with your military and you're stating what the goal of an operation is, it doesn't matter what many people take to mean. This is part of the false equivalency that is made. Like some people say, well, many people agree that there's a genocide. I don't give a fuck what many people agree. Is it numerically true? So here is going, many people took to mean. What many people took to mean doesn't fucking matter. What matters is, was that a military goal in the planning with the generals and the admirals?
Exactly. Like, oh, we had this perception that this was the goal, therefore that was the goal. No, fuck you. It doesn't work like that.
And how this could go on and so on. So people thought that's what he was getting at. But then he made it clear as it went on. No, okay, it's all about stopping their nuclear capacity.
No, that was what he was saying from the very beginning. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's another lie. That's another lie. Like, one of the things that was specifically referenced was the material, how much of it there was, and what they could do. I think they had enough for 3 nuclear bombs. I think they demonstrated that they had the capability to reach Diego Garcia, which means they could also reach Europe. So they had the ballistic missile capability to reach very far, and they had enough, as ready as it was. Like, you don't need to change anything in 60% uranium to make it a dirty bomb. It doesn't have the explosive force of a nuclear strike, like a full-fledged nuclear bomb. But you can already do so many radioactive damage with that kind of bomb that it's a clear and present danger. And one of the stated reasons for the operation was that clear and present danger of what could be done with that munition as is, and how much worse it could be if it was further developed.
Yeah.
Bemused, because I was told this time last year in the 12-day war that had put back Iran's nuclear capabilities by decades. Turned out it wasn't even 8 months. So I was bemused.
Correct.
And then I was told, okay.
You and me both.
Then we read the New York Times report, a deep dive about the meeting between Netanyahu and the head of Mossad at the White House, in which they laid out a series of events, and I've repeated this many times, but it's worth remembering because it's not been contested, that if you took out the Ayatollah, which the Israelis had got intelligence they were going to be meeting the Ayatollah, these top people, if you took them out, then there would be an organic collapse of the IRGC's control, that the people would rise up and they'd all be too...
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. If you take out the supreme leadership, the IRGC would have more control, but the regime as a whole will become weaker. And it will start the beginning of the Islamic Republic's collapse. And that is true. But the speed at which that would happen, I don't know where you're getting the information on where they, how fast they thought that would happen. Because if the analysis is that the killing of Ali Khamenei is going to increase the speed at which the Islamic Republic collapsing, that has happened. That analysis is correct. So we are years ahead when it comes to getting close to the fall of the Islamic Republic. Because of the killing of Ali Khamenei, we leaped years closer to the fall of the Islamic Republic. Just because it hasn't fallen yet, it doesn't mean that we haven't gotten closer. But go on, Monkey.
That's not the trick he's playing, though. The trick he's playing is taking assumptions from the public on what's going to happen and generalizing them into being the goals. Do you see what he did there? No, because the public thought this, so that was the goal. He did it with the stated goal of regime change. Now he's talking like the plan was for the people to take over, like that was a house plan, White House plan. So he's taking the murmurings and the assumptions of the public and stating them as if they were White House goals that weren't met. That is the deception that he's doing. He's taking assumptions from the public and ascertaining them as White House goals that weren't met.
Perfectly stated. Okay, good job. Let's continue.
Collapse of the IRGC's control, that the people would rise up and they'd all be too distracted to think about the Strait of Hormuz. The first bit happened. But unfortunately, the Ayatollah got replaced by his even more hardline radical son, and the IRGC guys just bumped up. So that was pretty ineffective.
Oh my God! What the more radical son that has never been seen and doesn't talk to people and has reduced the position of the Supreme Leadership Office to a fucking joke? Did you not know that, Piers? Did you not know that? Like, oh, unfortunately, the old Supreme Leader is dead, and the new Supreme Leader is worse because he's more radical. He's a fucking Ayatollah that has close to zero authority, and he's becoming a laughingstock even among regime supporters, even among many regime supporters inside Iran. What the fuck are you talking about? But go on, Mikey.
What he is doing, he is taking a report, I think this is from the Washington Post, that stated long ago that the son was a hardliner. As soon as the Ayatollah was dead, that there was some reports. I think it was from the Washington Post, maybe other sources as well, but I could be wrong on the source. But there was a report out there that this may be a grave mistake by Trump because the sun was even worse, and he is just running with the most popular report against Trump and repeating it because he knows that's something that will already be in the mind of the people, and they're going to be, yeah, I heard that somewhere, and they're going to go with that. He's just regurgitating talking points against the changing of the Ayatollah for the Gayatollah. That's what he's doing here. Not that we love gay people. We just think it's a little hypocritical the way they treat gays over there, right? But that's my point here, that he is just repeating a popular report to gain the support of the people that like that report, and to use it against Trump because it's a popular talking point against him.
And how is he more radical, given that his dad said that we were going to buy shit from Americans, we're not going to talk to Americans, we're not going to negotiate with the Americans, and Mujtaba has given permission for signing an MOU with the people who killed his dad and buying hay and corn and soy from the Americans. That doesn't seem like more radical to me. Does that seem like more radical to you?
I mean, it's different. Like having your supreme leader killed in the name of hay and corn is a little different. I wouldn't say it's radical, but it's a little different.
It's something that Ali Khamenei would never give into. Like if he was alive, he would be calling out this as the most extreme humiliation and something that should have been completely forbidden. Let me tell you something. Ali Khamenei, when he was alive, he banned the import of vaccines from United States, killing many Iranians during COVID. He said, like, we are going to ban, and they're like, who the fuck are, like, they pretended that he it's interesting because for years they were pretending like Ali Khamenei doesn't make executive decisions, and that's up to the parliament and the president. But during COVID, he came out and said no to any vaccines from the West, from Europe or from United States, causing hundreds of thousands of Iranians to die because of that ban, right? And a supreme leader that wouldn't even accept vaccines from Americans is now being said it is less radical than a supreme leader that is giving permission from buying corn and hay and soy from the Americans in exchange of them not being killed, which has turned into the most insane level of humiliation of the new supreme leader in the Islamic Republic. So yeah, not more radical at all.
I've seen someone in the chat said that they said if you die of COVID, you're a Sahid. What's a Sahid?
A Shaheed, I think.
A Shaheed? Okay.
It's a martyr.
Okay. Oh, you're a martyr. Oh, thank you. Now, I want to point out some of the hypocrisy here. I mean, you will see a lot of these people burn the American flag. They will burn the American flag all day. They won't burn the American dollar, right? When they find their treasure troves in Iraq and their all their corruption, what dollar do they favor most? It's the American dollar, isn't it? So these guys are a bunch of hypocrites. They reject a lot of American things, not the dollar. They love that dollar.
Exactly. They have no choice.
At the second, so you forgot
Well,
the
let me
second
finish my
portion of
point.
the New York Times
I will-
article.
I will let
we
you
gotta
respond.
finish the actual
I will
second
let- I
portion
will
of
let
the
you
New York
respond.
Times article, Pierce.
Okay, you can respond in a moment. Let me finish my point, and then tell me I'm wrong. It's no problem.
Oh my God, what's the point of having these people on? Just do
I
your
was
own
right.
work.
It was a New York Times. It wasn't Washington Post. But he's stating what I stated. He said, no. You're referencing an article about the. I think that's what he's going to talk about. You're referencing an article about the sun being worse. This is not a reality. That's just an article you're repeating, a popular article in the New York Times.
Yeah, exactly.
Problem. But the IRGC clearly remains in complete control. You've seen no uprising at all from the people, and you've seen an asymmetric.
If the IRGC is in complete control, why are they agreeing to such a humiliating MOU and bending the knee to Ghalibaf and accepting buying hay and corn and soybeans from the Americans without getting revenge for the killing of Ali Khamenei and most of the IRGC leaders. That doesn't seem like absolute fucking control to me.
War involving the Strait of Hormuz and attacking the Gulf states, which has been extremely effective from a response point of view by the Iranian regime. So I look at it in totality, and I would love to get rid of the Iranian regime, but it's not happened, and I don't think it's going to happen.
It's been 4 fucking months, you piece of garbage. The Soviet Union took 45 years to collapse in the Cold War. It's been 4 months. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Like, I'm gonna smack this guy.
I understand.
And the enriched uranium remains buried away in Iran somewhere. I don't think they're going to hand it over. I think they're now talking about actually wanting to build a nuclear weapon because the Americans and Israelis want to destroy everything that they represent. So I look at it all, and I'm just really struggling, genuinely, Matt, from a military point of view. Where's the victory here? Where's the moment you plant the flag and go, this was great for America? Because I don't see it.
Now I understand where you're coming from. So first, let's address the second part of the New York Times article, where it did, in fact, talk about, I believe it was Netanyahu and portions of Mossad that came in via VTC and ended up briefing up on their plan and what they thought would work over inside of Iran. U.S. intelligence community, Donald Trump then tasked out with assessing that plan. Donald Trump said it was a bad plan. He didn't think it was going to happen, and so he didn't go along with it. So let's start there. Second, the U.S. had their 3 major stated goals. Goal number 1 was ensuring Iran's not able to get a nuclear weapon. On that point, right now, when we look at that, we have confirmed now, and I'm with you, by the way, when it goes down to them saying that we set their program back decades, and then it gets into February and March, where they state that they're 2 weeks away, and then just last week and the week before, Trump comes out echoing what the regime said, which is their enriched uranium, or the nuclear dust, as he likes to call it, is buried so deep and so underground that only 2 countries might have the ability to get it out, which would be the United States and Iran, which has led me to question why the hell did we go and bombing them in the first place? But regardless, this is what we call intellectual honesty, right?
Yes,
so that leads me to question.
I actually appreciate it.
Look at
right, and so
this guy has the facts, but he's not good at discussion, right? So he was making a point, he got diverted, and now from the original point that he was making, and then Piers Morgan is jumping on that instead. Finish the point that you were making before you keep getting off track.
I've called him out, and I've been very critical of him for that. However, when it goes down to getting that enriched uranium out of the country, Iran originally stated that they were not going to.
See, he forgot what the point he was making. You were making the stated goal of President Trump. What was it, and was the war moving in that direction? Like now he got off track.
Be allowing the U.S. to go in there.
You go on, Monkey.
Derailing and distraction is one of the techniques that, like, I know that this guy got off track, but we have to remember that he's also facing a guy that's, basically dedicated his platform to deflection, distraction, and moving away from a point. So because he knows he's lying about the stated goal, he wants to deflect, distract, and, try to derail. And that's why this guy got derailed, because he's facing a guy that does this every day for a living.
Exactly.
Out of the country. Iran originally stated that they were not going to be allowing the U.S. to go in there after the United States announced that the International Atomic Energy Agency, along with the United States, was going to be able to go in there. And that went on for a couple of days until the United States, along with the IAEA chief, actually came out and said, no, Iran did agree to allow us to go in there. And then the regime came out and said, well, I guess, we did agree to let them go in, but we don't have a date set yet for that. So that's part of the ongoing negotiations. The second part is the ballistic missiles program and having limits to the ballistic missile program. I don't think there's a single debate whatsoever about how extremely degraded the ballistic missile program is over inside of Iran right now. And I say this because Iran has stated time and time again, even after the last time we attacked Qashm Island in the Strait of Hormuz, after the last time they used terrorism, which is defined as using fear or threat of violence in order to push a political or ideological agenda, which what they're doing in the Strait of Hormuz is 100% terrorism. But after the last time they terrorized the Strait of Hormuz in order to shut it down, they stated that they were going to obliterate Israel and the United States if we ended up attacking them. We attacked them, and they quite frankly couldn't do it. And it's the same thing after the attacks this weekend. As a matter of fact, they didn't even launch a ballistic missile at Israel because they know the overwhelming consequences that would come down on them if they did. So I think their ballistic missiles program, while they have them and they're still hidden within their mountains, et cetera, does not have the same capabilities that they had at the beginning of the war. Third, the other key point that the United States, or objective that we were trying to reach, was the defunding of their proxy organizations around the Middle East. So let's take a look at what happened in Iraq over the weekend. We have over 47 members of the Iraqi government that ended up getting balled up and arrested because of funding and influence by Iran, essentially corrupt politicians. And there's photos, videos, et cetera, of the Iraqi forces going around, rounding all of these people up. Additionally, over the last month, we've seen 2 out of the 3 major terror organizations that are funded by Iran inside of Iraq that got disarmed. Iraqi government came out and said by the end of the summer, if you don't disarm, they're going to end up waging a war on them. Then we can look at the agreement over inside of Lebanon that just took place, to where the Israelis are going to remain in position with agreement from the Lebanese government. The Israelis will remain in position. Hezbollah will be disarmed. Hezbollah is no longer allowed in that country. And that the Lebanese armed forces are going to replace the Israelis as they retrograde out of the country. And then the last major proxy organization that we really need to be concerned with is Ansar Allah, or the Houthis down inside Yemen. And just today, the information is coming out that the actual Yemeni government, not the Houthis, but the actual international recognized government, is actually starting to mobilize to go wage a ground campaign against the Houthis. And that itself is going to be developing in the weeks and months to come. So when we start looking at the actual objectives that came out, the Strait of Hormuz, in my opinion, is one of those just kind of like gotcha moments or little catches. Of course, Iran can shut down the strait by simply just launching or terrorizing commercial vessels. But even, now pay attention to this, overnight, we had over 50, in the last 24 hours, we had over 50, all right, merchant vehicle or vessels that ended up traveling through the Strait of Hormuz. And a lot of them using the Oman route down to the south, despite what Iran had said. So they are actually starting to lose that threat of terrorism over those commercial vessels. So in my opinion, right now, that whole Strait of Hormuz thing, that's just some smoke and mirrors right now that are going on. And it does affect the international community. It does affect the global economy. 20% of the world's oil ends up flowing through there. But at the same time, the country that is most affected by it than any other is China. China used to get 40% of their oil from the Strait of Hormuz. They used to buy 90% of Iran's oil. And right now, Iran's oil just got put on the global market underneath the US dollar. That means China can no longer get cheap sanctioned oil. China can no longer get cheap sanctioned oil from Iran. They now have to compete on the global stage, especially after we ripped out Maduro.
Okay, before this, okay, so this is perfect, right? This guy is on point, because if you look at the objectives, so Mikey, your mic is open. If you look at the objectives, we are basically making a real good progress on 2 out of 3, and one of them, you know, we're starting to begin the initial phases of making a progress. So the objectives of, like, the Americans are clearly winning if you look at what the actual objectives were. So the objective was not regime change, even if the regime change would have been welcome, but it wasn't the objective. It was nuclear, ballistic missiles, and the proxies. So when it comes to the ballistic missiles, this guy is 100% correct. They have been completely either destroyed or been made to be useless and ineffective against U.S. allies and U.S. bases, right? So that leverage of the Islamic Republic have been significantly destroyed, right? Not completely, but significantly weakened. So the United States has made that was a win for the United States, and that was one of the objectives. When it comes to the proxies, again, without Assad in power anymore, there's only, you got the Iraq, you got Lebanon, you got Yemen. And we're just in the past week, we saw amazing progress on all of that. A lot of us were angry that Israel was being held back when it comes to attacking Hezbollah, but now we see what the Americans' plans were, and it's actually a beautiful plan. Israel is not made to, not only Israel is not being pushed out of southern Lebanon, we have now the Lebanese own signature on a deal that Lebanon's own official government is giving permission to the Israeli army to stay in southern Lebanon. And not only that, the Americans are committing to coming in Lebanon and pushing back Hezbollah. So that is amazing progress in Lebanon, amazing progress in Iraq when it comes to arresting the proxies, all the politicians who are the puppets of the Islamic Republic in Iraq, and seizing all their assets. We just saw that this new prime minister, and we could see how carefully all of this was planned from early on, because President Trump was pushing against Nouri al-Maliki becoming a prime minister in Iraq months ago. So this was all being planned from early on, and you could see that now it's actually, we're seeing the results. Instead of Nouri al-Maliki, which would have been a puppet of the Islamic Republic, being prime minister, we have Ali al-Zaidi becoming the prime minister, and he's now helping President Trump going out and arresting all of the puppets of the Islamic Republic in Iraq. So huge progress in Iraq. And in Yemen, the official government is now starting to fight back against the Houthis. So, I mean, the Houthis were already weakened significantly, but now with this on top of it, so missiles, huge success for the Americans. Proxies, huge success for the Americans. The enriched uranium, we already had a huge success with Operation Midnight Hammer. If President Trump did not do that, the Islamic Republic would have had a nuclear bomb right now. But with the Operation Epic Fury right now, we're now put the Islamic Republic in into such a weak point where we could actually force upon them IAEA inspectors inside Iran, and also potentially, we'll see, maybe not, a deal that gets out the enriched uranium or dilutes it inside Iran. If that happens, then we're 3 for 3. Like, that is an absolute win for the Americans. Absolute win for the Americans. Like, by every metric, if you look at the objectives of this war and what the Americans have achieved, this is a win. What do you think, Winky?
I wanted to point out the sourcing by Piers Morgan. I put in the private chat the New York Times article that he's talking about, and the person who wrote it, by Farnaz Fasishi. Now, this is a person born in America, but then educated in Iran later to get a journalism master's in Columbia, right? This person also worked with the Neiman Foundation, where she studied how the Islamic Revolutionary Guard uses technology. This is her field of study, right? That's the lady who wrote the article, and the other link is the article itself. This person has been accused. Her reporting sometimes reflects or gives too much weight to the viewpoints of the Iranian government officials or reformist insiders. She heavily sources within the Iranian establishment. So this person, when she's writing articles, these articles that Pierce is reading from the New York Times, is basically propaganda, right? And this is the person within the New York Times that fosters these propaganda. During the 2022 protest, following the death of Mahsa Amini, some journalists and Iranian activists criticized headlines framing her reporting as arguing they understand the political nature of the protest. Like, she's like a very biased source. Pierce is picking basically Iranian talking points. This is who he's studying here. This is where he's getting his talking points. He's not getting it from the White House. He knows how to go to the White House and say, "Hey, this is our stated goals." They do have. There's a lot of ways to know what that White House wants, and there's a lot of ways to verify against contradicting sources. If he's sourcing this person, he's sourcing basically an IRGC mouthpiece.
That's a very good point, because the Iranian people have been fighting against her for so long, and the fact that Piers Morgan is using her as a source is a really important point to make. So, for example, like when it comes to the coverage of the Flight 752, so her reporting minimized the IRGC responsibility for shooting the Ukrainian passenger plane, which eventually it came out that it was the IRGC. They admitted themselves, and she was defending the IRGC, and she also uses regime sources. Senior Islamic Republic officials are her sources, and she normalizes the Islamic Republic's actions in her articles a lot, and her framing is very biased as well, right? So, for example, she refers to people like Qasem Soleimani as a national hero. That is the person that Piers Morgan is quoting in New York Times, referring to Qasem Soleimani. She named her. She referred to Qasem Soleimani, a fucking terrorist, as a national hero. But also, she's also critical towards the Pahlavi and anti-regime people. So Piers Morgan is quoting a New York Times writer that considers Qasem Soleimani to be a national hero, and pro-Pahlavi Iranians, she criticizes them all the time. So she's obviously an Islamic Republic puppet that gets published in the New York Times and then gets quoted by Piers Morgan.
Exactly.
Okay, let me read some super chats. We got 3 super chats. Fleshy Interloper said there were some good questions on oil prices, and Straight yesterday in chat posted some possibly interesting graphs in school. Oh, great. Thank you. So guys, in our group discussion on Liberty Politics discussion group, Fleshy Interloper put some really interesting data posts there. If you're in our discussion group, make sure you check them out and comment on them. If you find them and comment on them. Our group discussion, the link is in the description, the link is pinned in the chat, and it's also in the QR code at the top left. It's also in the bio of our YouTube channel, so go check it out. Fleshy puts some really interesting information there, so go and check it out and comment on them. And then we got a super chat from Shauna saying, I think he's looking at the lack of growth in jobs that are being replaced by AI. It's the over credentialed who are now experiencing downward growth. Yeah, so AI is creating jobs and taking jobs. But anybody who's looking at that, if you zoom out and you look at the jobs data right now in the United States, the job data is looking it's looking amazing. Like, so many people were shocked. Even the people who used to predict these things very well were shocked about how well the recent numbers were.
I would also point out that these are the same people that were ridiculing all if you were a plumber or you were a carpenter, hey, learn to code. And these people lost their jobs. There's a lot of job loss within the tech sector. And you have to understand, you can't be mad at the car companies because you lost your horse and buggy business, right? The industry is going to move forward. So if you're in a job, you should adapt to a newer market, because this kind of Malthusianism isn't going to work. Malthusians never win the Simon Ehrlich wager. They're never going to win a bet. You have to go with what the market is, not what you wish it was, and it's not going to stay still for you. So these people need to adapt as soon as possible, because the market's not going to wait for them. We're not going back to horse and buggy. The car is here. People are going to have to face it.
Yeah, and over the long term, technology always creates more jobs than it takes jobs. And yeah, Shana agrees also with that. And then Sayed with a super chat. Thank you so much, Sayed, saying, thank you, Armin. Great live streams. I make sure to watch them even if I can't watch them live. Oh, thank you, Sayed. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. All right. Let's go. That was very motivating to hear. So thank you for that. So let's go back here.
And the IRGC is not doing it.
If I could take you back to the day before this war was launched, knowing everything we now know, would you still say to Donald Trump, go?
I think that everybody is focusing. The answer is yes. But not because of Iran, but because of the actual global implications and putting America's interests first, right? And particularly with what's taking place with Russia and China on the global stage and using the IRGC. I honestly, I'm with you when it goes down to the excuse of them developing a nuclear weapon after we say that we ended up sending them back decades. I think more or less this has to do with like a global.
I mean, I don't know what this guy's on about. We did set them back decades.
I think you can say both. You can say they do have enough material for a weapon, but we sent their programs back decades, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's some kind of cognitive dissonance where people are not understanding. You can both realize that they have enough material to be a clear and present danger, but you also recognize that you did set their program back decades. These things can both be true at the same time, and some people have trouble grasping both. Like, yes, we did successfully set their program back decades, and they did have enough material to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, just because just because they could still make like a dirty bomb, that doesn't mean that this is what they meant. What they were intending is to be able to do, I don't know, multiple mushroom clouds in the middle of Europe if they wanted to, not just to be able to make just like a couple of dirty bombs. This wasn't their plan. Yeah, they could still make something that is devastating and dangerous, but their plans were so much bigger than this. Their plan was for them to by now be able to have like, I don't know, like many different ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads on them that could be launched anywhere on the planet. That's what their plan were, not just to be able to make, I don't know, 12 dirty bombs or something like that. That is dangerous. I don't want to basically push that aside as not as something that you shouldn't be concerned about, but it is not at all what their plan was.
Exactly.
Realignment with the IRGC and the Iranian regime right in the middle. Russia heavily supported by the IRGC, heavily supported by China. They were down over inside of Venezuela, all three of them, and plus Hezbollah. Okay, so all four of them down over inside of Venezuela, also conducting operations in Cuba, also Hezbollah over inside Mexico. Those are all big threats to the United States of America. So when I look at this from like an American global security perspective, I do believe that it's very important that we get Russia and China back in their place to where they're no longer trying to go out and threaten the United States and essentially take over as the world superpower.
Okay.
And I think dismantling the IRGC is a very, very good way of doing that.
Interesting perspective. Of course, they might take it another way, which is that the Iranians stood up to America and haven't been destroyed in the way that people thought might happen, and they might embark.
Oh my God, that's the people. The people. What do you mean? What else did you want to? Oh my God! Like, you know what this is? This is like basically beating up somebody trying to come and harass you, and then you start beating the shit out of them, and you broke every single bone in their body, and their face, all their teeth is broken, and they're looking up at you like, I'm not dead yet, so what okay, do you think you're winning this because you're not dead yet?
Olden,
you're like lying in a pool of blood with all your teeth broken, every single bone broken in your body, and you think you're winning this because I haven't killed you yet?
Tis but a flesh wound.
Yeah. Oh, look at that, Fleshy. Thank you so for the super chat saying Happy Canada Day, everyone. Yay, thank you. Happy Canada Day. Oh.
Keep the faith in Canada. Canada, I believe you will. Things will get better for you. I want all the Canadian patriots that love their country and don't hate themselves to become stronger than the ones who hate themselves and hate Canada. We have us a little bit of that here. I know you guys have a little bit of that there. So, from an American to my Canadian neighbors, I would like to say, keep your faith strong. Keep your love for your nation strong. Keep your love for your people strong, because love is, in the end, stronger than hate. Like, people, when they have a kid, they can lift a car. They can't do that any other time, right? This has been demonstrably proved that you are stronger when you're working in love. Like, this is scientific, right? So, you can't argue with that.
Okay. Wait, guys, that was beautiful. Guys, is Monkey's volume too loud?
I lowered it, but they are also very angry about AI, so that might just be like someone that hates AI. So I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh, look at this. I'm saying thank you so much, Grease Monkey. That's beautiful. Thank you, guys.
American enemies around the world to try their luck. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, so people are saying you're very loud. Try to lower it a bit. Lower your volume more.
Is that better?
Yes, that's a lot better. Thank you.
I mean, look, I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying there is a possibility that if this just continues to be this huge, gigantic, unresolved mess, people might take that view. Jonathan Conricus, on the assumption you haven't been outraged by the Jew-hating rhetoric of your fellow panelists today, which I imagine you wouldn't.
What a fucking piece of shit you are. Oh my God. You see him? You see what he just did here?
I'll run it back.
Look at this.
He snuck one by me. That greasy bastard.
Yeah, look at this.
If this just continues to be this
Right.
huge, gigantic, unresolved mess, people might take that view. Jonathan Conricus, on the assumption you haven't been outraged by the Jew-hating rhetoric of your fellow panelists today, which I imagine you wouldn't, because obviously they're
Come
not
on,
Jew haters.
Give me a bit.
What an
Unfucking
asshole.
believable.
That's called
What
being an
an
asshole.
That is just being straight up asshole. Like there's nothing else. That is, yeah, fucking asshole.
More credit than that. Come on.
Well, I don't think you deserve it after your ex outpourings, but let's move on.
Okay, fine.
Because I'm, as you know, always fair-minded to you.
I would just say, like, this is what I would say. I apologize for your butt hurt over words.
Exactly. That would be a great response. And like, look at this. I'm being fair. Like, you're misrepresenting everything this man has said. And you're like, but I'm being fair-minded. Like, are you really? Are you like? Isn't what you just did an accusation that anybody who disagrees with him will be accused of being a Jew hater? How is that fucking fair?
He's
You
acting
piece
like a
of
victim.
shit.
It's
What
his
a
show. It's his
scumbag.
platform. He's acting like a victim. He's full victim mode. Like, no. You know what? Why do whatever you want? He's acting. He's saying very womanly. Actually, you know, I love women, but you girls do stuff like what Pierce does sometimes. You know what I'm saying? He's acting like such a victim. Come on, grow up, man. Have a backbone.
Oh my god.
Give me a bit more credit than that. Come on.
Well, I don't think you deserve it after your ex outpourings, but let's move on.
Okay, fine.
Because I'm, as you know, always fair-minded to you.
How is that fair? You're basically accusing him of just calling everybody Jew hater for criticizing Israel, and these people were even not even talking about Israel. They were talking about Iran, and he criticizes Israel himself, and you accuse him of calling people Jew hater for criticizing Israel. You're such a fucking piece of shit. Like, fucking piece of shit. Like, I don't know. I really hate Piers Morgan. Like, I really hate him. He's such a bad person. Like, he's genuinely a bad person.
Outpourings, but let's move on.
Okay, fine.
Because I'm, as you know, always fair-minded to you. Let's talk about the issue of trust. A lot of what Matt said was very interesting to me, right? And it's a very interesting perspective. But my point would be, how can we trust the Iranians as far as you could throw them? I mean, they have proven for 47 years to be one of the least trustworthy regimes.
Oh, look at this. Somebody in the somebody's butthurt. Oh yeah, trolla. Oh, he's a troll. Okay, I think he's just trolling. Okay, be careful if you're actually if you're actually trolling. The trolling is a ban-worthy offense in our chat.
You're being accused of being Armin Morgan.
Yes. Okay. I think he's either butthurt or a troll.
Obama was negotiating his deal with them. It took over 2 years. You know, this could well take over 2 years. In the meantime, Trump may well get punished in the midterm elections by losing control of Congress. He might lose the House and the Senate, the way things are looking. He may not, but he might. And if he does, he becomes a lame duck president and wouldn't be able to go through with half the stuff that Matt's talking about anyway. So there are real-time political consequences that could come into play here. And a lot of it comes down to, can you trust the Iranians on any of this? And I don't see how you can.
I think we can trust the Iranians to be clever, calculated, and to have a good read of the American psyche, American economy, politics, and to find and adequately use pressure points, whether it's China, Europe, and most importantly, the US. And I think early on in this war, the Iranians, as they were being bombed and defeated in the air and on the ground and at sea by the US and Israel, I think early on they understood two important points. One is, and they're connected to each other, and in the excellent analysis that I heard before, they weren't mentioned, and I think they're worthy of mentioning. And it comes down to casualties. And I come from a country where we're fighting. We've had more than 2,200 Israelis killed since October 7, many of them civilians, but a lot of them military, fighting in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria. Luckily, we haven't had any service members killed fighting the Iranians in the last iterations, but we've had civilians killed by Iranian missiles. The Israeli threshold and sensitivity for casualties is different than the American one. And I think that the Iranians early on understood that there is an extremely low threshold, high sensitivity for casualties, and that they were good on exploiting that. And the second issue, which is related to casualties, is an unwillingness for what I think are understandable reasons from an American perspective, given Iraq and Afghanistan as a context, is an unwillingness to deploy significant troops, boots on the ground. The moment the Iranians understood that, through the very transparent communications of the administration, they understood where they could push, and I think they understood and read very correctly that they could get away, even though they lost totally, without any doubt on the battlefield. They were able to scramble and get a tie on the diplomatic field, and I credit them, the Iranians, for having a very serious and well-functioning strategic and diplomatic mechanism that does strategic communications very well, that assesses their enemies very well, and then finds the weaknesses that they can use out of a position of weakness. And what we have now is a memorandum of misunderstanding of the Middle East, and I differ from the views that have been said here before. I don't think that it projects American strength, and I don't think that it will keep American enemies at bay or deter them from taking hostile actions that are adversarial to the US. Because I think that at the end of the day, every enemy in the region, they saw that the US had tremendous and dominating firepower, but it wasn't willing to commit in order to fight decisive warfare and to pay the unfortunate prices that you need to pay when you do engage in kinetic warfare. And that is a lesson for terrorists around the world. It's a lesson for the Chinese and for the Russians and for other contenders who want to challenge the US, which I hope that they won't. And I hope that if they do, they will fail miserably. Let's make that clear. But I think that fighting the Iranians and allowing them to basically dictate an MOU that doesn't serve neither the Iranian people nor the Sunni Arab Gulf countries, nor Israel's the US ally of Israel in the Middle East is not a good look. And I hope that this MOU won't be implemented. Of course, as you said correctly, it boils down to the midterms, it boils down to economy and the elections and what will happen there. And I wish the administration great success in that. And I hope that they'll be able to carry everything that they need so that after the midterms, the US can go back to doing what I think they started. And I think they will find a very able, disciplined, and loyal partner with Israel. And I hope that there will be more wisdom and more humility on the Israeli and American side in the next iteration, which, have no confusion, it will come. This is one chapter that is probably being, signed and ended, but there will be other chapters in the Middle Eastern book of the war between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the West, specifically Israel and the US. Other chapters will be written until that regime is defeated.
Josh,
All right, so
That was amazing. I'm so surprised he let him go for that long. But you know why he let him go for that long?
because he was agreeing with him, because he was basically criticizing MOU. Exactly. And so, Monkey, I'm gonna go do a bio break. Can you break this down about what you think? I'll be right back. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have 2 points that I want to bring to bear here. Okay, so there's two things that he's talking about. He's talking about the MOU specifically between the U.S. and Iran. Now, here's what's going on. The MOU is a 60-day ceasefire. So this 60-day ceasefire MOU has seen a lot of operations happening at this moment in Iraq. Around, I think it's over 40 diplomatic and non-diplomatic politicians in Iraq have been found to have direct ties to the IRGC. Their fortunes have millions upon millions of dollars stolen, both from the Iranian people, but the Iraqi people. So this is creating a sentiment among the Iraqi people that the IRGC are stealing their wealth. I'm going to tell you something. When the people in Iraq see these mountains of dinars and dollars that has been taken from their pocket, from their land, from their resources, this has been stolen from the Iraqis by the IRGC, these operations that are going on during the MOU are very important in shaping the Middle Eastern relationship with the IRGC. This is very important to say, hey, you know what, this thing between US and Iran, it's not going how it should, blah, blah, blah. No. You can't ignore what's happening in the meantime, because things didn't stop happening. There's there's work being done between Lebanon and Israel together. As a matter of fact, Bibi was in Lebanon. He was in Lebanon with his troops. Well, this is like unprecedented. You gotta have some balls to do that. Like him or hate him, it's like, hey, that does take some balls to do that. He was in there. The U.S. stepped in and helped Lebanon and Israel broker a deal. They signed it together. One of the women signing was not wearing a hijab, which I think was fantastic. And I think that these moves that are being made in the Middle East to defang Iran during the time of this MOU cannot be ignored, because it's like saying, okay, you and me are not going to fight, but I'm going to beat the shit out of your buddies over there in Iraq, and I'm going to beat the shit out of your buddies over there in Lebanon. So you can't look at this as a one-dimensional thing. Now I'm going to talk about the elections. What's going on in the elections and why it's important for Iranians to care about the American elections and help in the American elections is disenfranchisement. What we have now is that the black vote is being disenfranchised. The black vote turned to Trump, and wherever black votes and Latino votes, I'm talking about legal Latinos that have been in the country for a while, they're all legal citizens, legally allowed to vote. Wherever these districts turned from blue to purple or from purple to red, those places were literally filled with illegal immigrants. And if they don't care about the law enough to jump into the country, they're not going to care, and they're going to vote. Some of these places, just with an ID, you could just go vote with any ID. Some of these places, you don't even need an ID to vote. Right. But where all you need is an ID, these people are giving CDL. These are trucker licenses to illegal immigrants. I mean, if they let you drive a truck without knowing how to speak English, you're damn right they're going to let you vote despite you being an illegal immigrant that's not supposed to vote. So with this Supreme Court ruling and the things that are happening in the government, what they're trying to do is they're trying to cheat the black people that turned to Trump, the Latinos that turned to Trump that can legally vote, and they're trying to offset. So you got to make it too big to fail in the midterms. The midterms, sadly, is our lowest turnout. So I want to put the call out there that if you care about Iran, you got to do everything you can, right? You know what? You got to go to the barrio, the ghetto, and the trailer park. You have Scott Pressler. You need a Jerome Pressler in the ghetto, and you need a Jose Pressler in the barrio, because we need to take the people that we know have turned towards Trump. Latinos, the move from Latinos to Trump, the legal voters that went to Trump, the percentage was enormous. I think it was like 30% increase. This is very important in the midterms. Do not let them cheat. They're going to try to cheat. I absolutely guarantee you. That's what the push was for opening the border. They knew oh my God, we're losing the blacks, we're losing the Latinos, we're going to fucking lose, right? What are we going to do? Let's open the border. And we'll stick these illegal immigrants everywhere in every state that turned from blue to purple and purple to red. That's the game that's being played here. So it is imperative upon you, if you're a person of Iran, if you're an American that just want American interests to improve, if you're a family person, if you are worried about what's going on in the Middle East because you realize that global commerce is global commerce and we can't just ISO cuck ourselves into being in a weaker position. If you care about any of these things, you got to get the vote out. You got to talk to Scott Pressler. You got to talk to Jose Pressler. You got to talk to Jerome Pressler. We got to get these kinds of people out there, find them, promote them, and get the vote.
That was okay. That was great. And while you were speaking, we got 3 super chats. So maybe you should speak more often. Thank you. So we got Fleshy Interloper with a super chat. Thank you so much. Say one more luck. And then we had, thank you, Fleshy. So thank you for the super chat and for the luck. And look at this, Fleshy. You started a chain reaction. Oh my god, and you got us to our goal. Thank you. Look at this. Fleshy, you started a chain reaction. And say it with a super chat. Thank you. Saying, I wish you both, Armin and Grease Monkey, great success. You guys are awesome. Oh, thank you guys. And we got confetti in the chat. Thank you.
It's a
guys.
pleasure to be of service.
Thank you. Oh wow, look at all the support we just got. I'm somebody saying smart monkey. Oh, thank you, Saya. Thank you, Fleshy Interloper. And Fleshy Interloper with another super chat saying was supposed to be one more for luck. Oh, that one. One more for luck. Well, okay. Well, we got all the luck. Look at this. We got like a chain super chat after you did that. So it was a lucky super chat. And then Nyla with a beautiful name. I also used to say Nila, and now that I know it's Nyla, like, oh my god. You know, I want to. Your name is so pretty. I want to have a daughter and call her Nyla. Nyla is saying, I hope everyone has a great week. Well, thank you, Nyla. Thank you. Thank you. That's very sweet. And Sayed saying one more for the confetti. Yes, thank you, Sayed. And then Nina also with a super sticker. Wow, what happened all of a sudden? Thank you, guys. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Sayed. Thank you, Nyla. Thank you, Flesh Interloper. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Yes, we
Wow.
are below replacement rate. We need more children being born. So if you can get on that, that would be great. You know, I don't want to be too pushy, but
Hey,
you know,
Monkey, get off my back with my my family. Get off my back.
good people should make good people.
No, it's for security reasons. I shouldn't be talking about that for.
Oh, I understand. I was more joking than anything.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, though. Yeah, I agree with you, though. I agree with you. Yeah, have baby 3 at the minimum. I do believe in that, though. Yeah. Oh, Nina is saying I did my part. Yes, you did. Thank you. Wait, in babies or super chat or both? Okay.
Hopefully both.
Okay. Hopefully both. Thank you. All right, let's continue.
Just finally, Donald Trump. This was last year, around the time of the 12-day war. It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?
Did you see the sneaky thing he did there?
Iran great again was what he posted.
What did he do? What did he do? Tell us.
He says it's not politically correct to say regime change. But what he's doing is masking the fact the problem wasn't that it was politically correct. It's that you incorrectly claimed that the administration wanted regime change. Now you're kind of slipping in that the problem with talking about regime change is that it's politically correct. No. The problem with talking about regime change is that it was never a stated goal. That was what the whole argument was. Now you're shifting because we've gone past this point. You're shifting to, it's not we're not calling it regime change because of political correctness. No. The reason we weren't calling it regime change is because that was never a stated goal. But this guy isn't stupid. He's evil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, is it possible that he's both stupid and evil? You think that is only just evil?
Not this guy. Like, there's a lot of that out there. But this guy knows what he's doing because he's able to shift from side to side when it's convenient. And you got to understand both sides to do that, which takes a little bit of more brain power. So I put him in the evil grifter camp.
Okay.
Then, when we all thought and believed that the nuclear program would be put back decades, which turned out not to be the case, apparently. Put your crystal ball on. Let's go forward a year from now, because that was a year ago last week. Where are we going to be, do you think? If you were a betting man, where are we going to be with this?
So first of all, I remember that post very well, Donald Trump with the U.S. flag on Iran and MIGA, regime change. There's been a lot of talk, and I'm a supporter of the president.
Too much talk, by the way. I just want to say for the record, I get on very well with Donald Trump. Have done a long time. He's just talked too much. The constant daily outpourings, contradicting each other minute by minute, day by day. None of that I don't think has been helpful, because eventually, if you don't go through with the threats, for example, you're the boy that cried wolf. You're the emperor.
I mean, isn't that in his book, The Art of the Deal? You go for the boy who cried wolf, or you go for the maximum and settle for something in between. Isn't that the whole Art of the Deal thing in his book?
No,
Isn't
no.
that his whole thing?
What the B-2 bombers dropped was a crying wolf. They didn't really drop bombs. We didn't
Right.
drop 13,000 bombs. We dropped a wolf. Wolf. That's what we dropped. This is ridiculous. What do you mean? If you don't follow through? We've been following through the whole time. We've been hitting back every time they get out of line. I mean, what is he talking about? He's just inventing a fabricated reality in which we're not counter attacking any, because you got to understand, every time they attack, they expose themselves, and every time they expose themselves, it's like we cut that thing off, right? They whip it out, we cut it off. They whip it out again, we cut it off. Soon they're going to have nothing left to whip out because we cut it all off. And that's what's been going on. And for him to ignore that, also ignoring all the bombs we already dropped, also ignoring the fact that the Ayatollah is probably, when they transport it in the helicopter, it's going to be very light casket, because what is there in there? A Tupperware container containing the last Ayatollah? A congealed small Tupperware container with the remains of the Ayatollah that's about to be buried. What do you mean we're just talk? This is insanity.
Yeah, I mean, Khamenei is dead. All of the top IRGC leaders are dead. The Islamic Republic's nuclear program is under the ground. $1 trillion of investments of the Islamic Republic in the nuclear program is gone. Hezbollah is being pushed back by both Americans and Israel now. The Iran's
Hashtag Did I get it right this time?
Hashtag Shabi has been pounded for the past couple of months in Iraq, and not only that, the politicians that are proxies of the Islamic Republic in Iraq have been all arrested by the new prime minister of Iraq that President Trump put in place. So yeah, that is not crying wolf. Yeah,
he's lying. He's just lying. He knows. He knows he's lying.
Those are actually doing things. Yeah.
With no clothes. I've been warning that for a while. I just think if you just constant public dialogue about this, where from one day to the next you're exterminating an entire country, or they're the nice new guys to deal with, I don't get it.
So I'm totally not going to disagree with you. In fact, I agree wholeheartedly. And frankly, my opinion is closer to Jonathan's than to Matt's as to your hypotheticals, whether or not you would have advised the president to go into this war knowing all that we now know. If we had known that a ceasefire would be called prematurely, if we had known that this very bad MOU would have been signed, frankly, I would not have advised getting involved in the first place, because I do think that despite our clear accomplishments, the taking out of Khamenei, the near decapitation in its entirety of the Iranian Navy, the Air Force, there have been real gains. And Matt did a fantastic job of outlining those real gains. When it comes to burying a lot of their ballistic missiles, I do nonetheless think that the message that it sends to America's enemies around the world, and frankly, just the enemies of civilization more generally, team barbarism is unequivocally emboldened by what we are currently seeing when it comes to this MOU that is on life support. It was in Switzerland. Now it's going to be in Qatar this week. The whole thing is a bit of a mess. We'll see how it goes. But I do fear very much so that China is now only eyeing Taiwan closer, and all the world's tyrants are essentially emboldened by what we are currently seeing. Now, to your question, as far as what this will look like a year from now, frankly, I think it'll look something similar to the status quo.
I want to make one comment on that.
Different from where we are at.
Yeah.
China can't do anything right now. China has a lot of problems with their oil supply. So China is this is such a misconception about what's going on in China, and the only people that have this view are people that are not looking into China or people that are lying. Right. If you look into what's going on in China, China is having a lot of problems with its military, a lot of problems with its equipment, taking the gap between Taiwan and China is very difficult. Making a land operation there is very difficult. The IRGC, the PLA has a big navy, but it's not a blue navy. It's not a deep water navy. Coming up onto the shores, and another thing, Taiwan is now well aware of drones. So you doesn't matter what kind of fleet you have, if you can have a whole bunch of little mini drones the size of a jet ski blowing up all your ships. This is the kind of things that the Ukrainians used against Putin's boats. So this is a misunderstanding and a false claim, or I think it's deception about the capabilities of China right now. China has a whirlwind of trouble. And to claim that China is going to be eyeing Taiwan closer because America is weaker or China is stronger because of this engagement is ridiculous. They can't even sell weapons anymore because their weapons failed in Syria, they failed in Iran, they failed in Venezuela, they failed all over Africa, failed in Myanmar. I mean, no one wants their weapons anymore. That's one industry that's closed. We've closed off about 40% of the trade we have with them, and we've started friendshoring and onshoring the stuff that we used to get from China. So China's getting stronger because of this. Ridiculous. This guy's lying.
Okay. Lior is back. Lior, we were looking for you. We needed our official baker to hand out cookies because they were making obvious points. And thank you for being here. And also, Amir is saying, don't forget to like the stream. Yes, and guys, also subscribe. Wherever you're watching this, subscribe to... Oh, and we got a super chat. Thank you, Amir, for always advertising people to like and subscribe. And we have Ehef. Thank you so much for the super chat saying, with Taiwan's electronics manufacturing, they could probably build millions of drones in weeks. Oh, what do you think about that, Monkey?
I think they do have strong manufacturing. I think that drone warfare has completely changed the game. And when you don't have like the kind of drones that they could use against China would be very effective. It wouldn't be as effective against something like the U.S. Navy because they have a water navy and the armor basically on these ships are much stronger. But you could make a little jet ski drone and have it like function, no remote control, just AI, just using visual targeting, so you don't need to even control it or send a signal to it, and it's definitely gonna find its mark. A jet ski sized munition hitting a boat, it's gonna devastate it, and you could also have some underwater types of capabilities that I doubt that China's gonna be able to counteract. We're not even talking about airborne drone munitions and other types of equipment that we have sold to Taiwan. We have an obligation to Taiwan within the U.S. law. Like, this isn't even like an option. Within the U.S. law, we are obligated to help them out. This is not something that a president can just ignore, right? So, and we are funding them. We have to, look at how much we're funding them. We're asking them to, hey, buy more guns, like you need them. So you guys got to get it together with your budget, because if you're saying you don't need guns, you're saying you don't need us. So we could just step back, right? But they don't want that, so they're going to buy more guns and more weapons and more, weapon systems. They don't really buy guns. But what I'm talking about is there's a connection there with Taiwan, with Ukraine, and with the peoples that are aligning themselves against these totalitarian regimes that don't allow people to rise through their free markets and their ingenuity. Their oppressive top-down regimes are just going to be falling all over the place as they have been falling all over South America. I think we're at the cusp of a new age as far as understanding who is in power and what's going on here. And I think Iran, the liberation of Iran is going to be a big turning point, not a little one, a big one. And it's very important to pay attention here and see how this game is played, because Putin's criminals, the criminal state of Putin, and the Chaicoms, the Chinese communists, because there's great Chinese people, there's great people in Russia, but Putin's criminal state and the Chaicoms, the Chinese communists that are funding and supplying Iran, have been against us through Iran. Iran has committed, some of the largest killings of Americans of an active state. Like, and not since Vietnam have we seen anything like it. And it's about time that they got theirs. The IRGC.
All right. Thank you for that. Let's go to JD Vance. What about that? Like, he has he had this interview. There's clips from it.
You want to know my take? I think he allows Trump to play to the ISO rights. ISO cucks, and to the unipolar right. So we basically have two rights. If I'm gonna be like, well, let's not insult them. Let's try to win them over. You have the ISO rights and the unipolar right. The ISO right says it doesn't matter if we're the number one as long as we're by ourselves. The unipolar right says, no, we have to project our strength or it's going to cost us. Right. So Vance plays to one side, Marco plays to the other. That lets Trump sit back and get votes from both sides.
I think you're completely right. I think President Trump is, instead of taking one side, he's trying to keep all sides by basically putting both of these out there, Rubio and Vance out there. And instead of leaning completely one way or another, he gets to basically keep both of them. But obviously I'm against one of these groups and I support the other one, right? That doesn't change our calculation that we are. I mean, I don't know if it's true with you, but I'm against JD Vance's side and I'm for Rubio's side.
I'm for him if he's just for votes, as long as this doesn't turn into like a running theme. Hey, if everything changes after the midterm, I'm like, hey, good job.
No, I'm against JD Vance. No matter what, if this is for votes, I don't care. Like I'm against the people with those opinions. So those are, I understand why a politician needs to do politician things, but me as a person that stands for certain views, I'm against those people and what their votes represents. So I'm speaking as a activist fighting for the right ideas. I understand that the position of a politician that needs to win elections is different. They're playing a different game compared to me. Me as an activist, I'm against everything that JD Vance represents. I mean, I don't know if everything, but many things that JD Vance represents. Does that make sense?
Okay, so let me point this question to you. Let's say he wins these people over, right? And they're going to listen to him, and he has said these bad things, and they're on his side, and they're listening to him, right? Let's say the midterms pass, and then he starts telling these people, you know what? Maybe I was wrong about this. Maybe Israel is great. And he starts turning these people into pro-unipolar, pro-Israel, anti-RDC, anti-deal because the midterm is over. And then he's just taking the people that had these views that he like used for votes, and then he turns them toward the light. Then you're going to say, you know what? At the time, I was right to go against him. Now I kind of see, I like where this is going better. Would you grant that or no?
Well, I mean, if somebody says eating a shit sandwich is good, and then I like fuck that shit, and then tomorrow they say, well, actually eating a shit sandwich is bad, will I be against them when they're saying eating a shit sandwich is good? And then when they change their view and they say, actually, it's not a good idea to eat a shit sandwich, I'm going to like, okay, now I agree with you. I mean, that's going to be true with everybody. It doesn't matter if it's him or anyone else. If somebody says Islam is good, I'm going to like, well, that's a shit take. I disagree with you. And tomorrow, if they say Islam is garbage, I'm going to like, okay, now I agree with you. That's not true about JD Vance. That would be true with everybody.
So we're going to recommend that JD Vance at some point, hopefully soon, stop selling us shit sandwiches.
Anybody who stops selling us shit sandwiches, I will start supporting them if they have something good to offer, right? Like not just him, right? But while they're selling us shit sandwiches, I will be aggressively against them while they're doing
Me too. I hate his takes.
Yeah. Let me see. Well, maybe he was. I haven't watched this. This was sent to me to review, right? So I have no idea what he's going to say, and I'm going to be open-minded. Maybe once this is only 37 seconds, and maybe when I play it, I will be like, okay, you know what? That was a pretty good take. Let's see what he says.
I'm not saying they're going to, I can't predict, of course, the future, but so one, there were scheduled talks, really technical talks building on the negotiation that we've already had. Those are definitely happening tomorrow. One of the things I find just fascinating and frustrating about the Iranians is they'll say, no, there aren't peace talks ongoing, but there are technical talks between the United States and Iran about the peace deals. It's like, okay, so it's a Persian negotiating tactic and a Persian rhetorical device that I don't understand, but that is the way that the Iranians have done this.
Okay, I was about to say he finally understands, and then he fucking ruined it. This is an Islamic rhetoric tactic. This fucking like he ruined it. I was gonna give it to him. Like, thank you for finally waking up and realizing how fucking two-faced and lying sons of bitches. Yeah, it's like I was gonna be like, okay, he's waking up. He's finally realizing that these motherfuckers are never honest with you, are always gonna misrepresent what's happening. Finally, he's understanding that you cannot, like, these are a kind of different creatures that you cannot really negotiate with in good faith. I was like, I'm gonna use this opportunity for me to basically praise him for finally understand something that we have been trying to explain to these fuckers for the past couple of decades. But then he like ruined it. Persian, what the fuck is Persian about this? Oh my god.
I bullshit. He's full of shit.
Yeah, he's what the, he ruined it. I was gonna give it to him. Unbelievable. Look at this last part.
Ongoing, but there are technical talks between the United States and Iran about the peace deal. It's like, okay, so it's a Persian negotiating tactic and a Persian rhetorical device that I don't understand, but that is the way that the Iranians have done this.
Okay, okay, Monkey, you're an expert at this. Is he retarded or evil?
Look, sometimes people are so full of shit that they're redundant, right? Like it's shit on shit. Like he's shit on a stool. He's on a stool right now. Shit on shit. He's so full of shit that it's redundant.
Oh my! He says, "I don't understand this." Yeah, you clearly don't. And this
Then
is
why are you the mediator if you don't understand? Look, I think someone said this in the chat. Texas said it's like the third time he says he doesn't understand the Middle East. Then why the fuck are you the negotiator then?
You know, this was our problem with Witkoff and Jared Kushner, right? They at first they come in like, I don't know why the Israelis can't just negotiate with these people, right? Can't we just have peace? Let's negotiate with them. I think it's better to talk than have war. Guys, isn't talking better than war? Let's talk, not war, or let's not have war. And they come and they speak to them and I'm like, holy fucking shit, these what the fuck are these people?
Look, there
right?
it is. Texas says it's the fifth time. He says he doesn't understand the Middle East. What the fuck are you doing there?
Yeah.
Like, even if as a strategy, it's stupid. Because if you're trying to say, hey, you know, guys that have my line of thought, follow me. Like, if you're just being tricky, right? This is a stupid trick because you're just claiming to stupidity. I don't understand what I'm doing here. How does this work? What is he doing? This is so stupid.
Yeah, but every time the new people come in and realize like, okay, these are not people that you can negotiate with, then the next person come like, I got this. I don't know why you guys could not negotiate with them. I got them. Let me negotiate. And they come in and they come like, I'm so confused. Why are they doing this? Why are they lying? Why are they being so dishonest? Like every fucking time, like people are telling you that, guys, listen to people who have experience with this. These are not people that you could negotiate with. And like, no, you just want war. You're a warmonger. Let me do it. I will negotiate with them. And then they come confused. And then they're going to send the next guy. And then the next guy that thinks that with zero experience, they know how to deal with these negotiations.
When did he
All
go
the
to
fucking
Pakistan?
time.
This was like over 2 months ago, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So it's been 2 months. You haven't gotten the gist of it yet. You're supposed to be the vice president. You got to be quick on the ball for this. You got to be like, you're a heartbeat away from the president's office, and it takes you this long to understand what's going on with these people. I look. The only thing that makes sense is we're playing for time. But even if we're playing for time, his statements are stupid. Like even if we're just like, you know, running the clock while we get rid of the bad guys in Iraq, Hashda Shabi. Even if we're running the clock, or the PMF, poor motherfuckers. Even if we're running the clock while we deal with the people in Lebanon, this is not, you don't want to run the clock and act stupid. What is it, drunken boxing? What are you doing here? This is not the kung fu you want.
Okay, yeah. Wait, we got a super chat. Thank you so much, Yashat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Saying, hey, Armin, have you seen the Winston Marshall show new interview with Dr. Sebastian Gorka? He's a deputy assistant to President Trump. It's about 45 minutes interview, and as part of it, they talk about what's happening with Iran. I haven't seen it. Should I watch it? Do you think it's a good watch? I might.
I haven't seen it, but I'd give it a try. I mean, you know, if someone's think it's good enough to pay $20 out there, I'm gonna give it a consideration. $20 is $20, my brother.
Let me see. Is deputy which Winston Marshall show. I'm not seeing it. Okay, I'll
take it
I'll
under
take a look.
consideration.
Yeah, I might
I
give
might
to
watch it
my-
offline
Oh,
and give you
yeah.
like
Oh, I
like
see it.
a.
You know, I want to be on this guy's show. You know, get me on Winston Marshall because I'm pretty sure I would have a lot to add. Guys, I was on Ask Haviv Anything show. I think it was one of my best shows. He's
Oh man, I haven't seen that. Can you drop the link for us? I'd love to see that.
It's not released yet. Let me check if it's released. I just recorded. It was just recorded yesterday, so it's not released. It was one of my best interviews.
When you
gonna-
get it, you got to show it to us. Okay, you got to drop the links for us so we could go like it.
Yeah, okay, I will. But also Winston Marshall, I want to get on his show. How do I get on his show? Somebody get me on his show. Right?
I'll give it a watch. I'll give it a watch, and let me take a screenshot of this. I'll give it a watch and see what's up with that.
Okay, yeah, give it a watch. Tell me what you think. And thank you. All right, let's go to the next JD Vance. Is this the same clip? Let me see. I think this might be the same clip.
I'm not saying they're gonna, I can't predict, of course, the future, but so one, there are talks, there were scheduled talks, really technical talks building on the negotiation that we've already had. Those are definitely happening tomorrow. One of the things I find just fascinating and frustrating about the Iranians is they'll say, no, there aren't peace talks ongoing, but there are technical talks between the United States and Iran about the peace deals. It's like, okay, so it's a Persian negotiating tactic and a Persian rhetorical device that I don't understand, but that is the way that the Iranians have done.
It's Islamic. It's Taqiyya. Go look it up, you fucking idiot. Yeah, also, by the way, this is exposing the Islamic Republic when they're saying that they're negotiating in Doha. They are negotiating in Doha. They are.
I mean, oh man, he makes me so angry. I don't even know what to say.
Right. Okay, let's see what he says here.
So I think what the president has told us to do is use this MOU to sort of refill the world's oil economy, to refill some stocks, and then to see where the hand is. And so I think what the president has told us.
You know what? I like that.
Yeah.
That means this one I like this one. This is a good plan. Yeah, so basically let's just lower oil prices, and then after that we'll see where we are, and we might go fuck them up after, right? That sounds.
When does the MOU end? When is the 60-day period over? Do we know?
60-day. Here's the thing. I don't think the 60-day is relevant. Okay, because you could extend it, you could shorten it, you could ignore it. I think the actual time that we need to look at is the midterms and how long it takes for the United States to restockpile its missile interceptors. Those are, I think, that's the timeline that we're looking at. I think the 60-day could that's flexible.
Well, I know it's flexible, but they must have set that date with a goal in mind. So I'm thinking maybe 60 days is what they need for the resupply. So let's say, like, just spitballing here, brainstorming, 60 days what they need for the resupply, and that's why they set that date. It's not really about peace with the IRGC or anything like that. When is that date? Because I think if you, it's important because I think it would still be August. I don't think it would go all the way to September. Also, having a 60-day timeline gives the stocks are kind of forward looking. So if everything stays stable during that 60 days, it leads to less instability in the stock market. So that might be another reason why that 60-day timeline has been maintained. Aside from a timeline for resupply, August. Okay, so in August, if you attack in August, you could still maybe even finish a new operation to weaken the IRGC further through kinetic actions, right? And maybe taking some islands, maybe not. I don't know how that's going to go, but you could still do that in August, be back out by September, and maybe not affect the stock, keep the markets kind of like maybe there's a little up and down, but still back down by September, or even in August, so that it doesn't affect prices during November. What you don't want is instability and prices to go high in November, because what the people are feeling at the time to vote, that's what's going to matter. Or if you do an operation in October, right? It won't affect the market till December, because it usually takes a month or 2 months for these things to affect the market. So prices wouldn't change that much. So there's kind of things that you have to play with here with the dates. Like if you open, start and finish, you don't want 2 months to stabilize the economy. So this is kind of like October is too shaky. Yeah. This is why I'm saying September, because October is too shaky, but September is better. If you're in and out by September, that gives you time until November. You can't be in during October. I think by October, you got to be back out. And if you're only doing kinetic, if you're not having any special operations, people talk about boots on the ground, but boots on the ground is like 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 people. If we have a small group of, let's say, 5,000, 10,000 people, I wouldn't call that boots on the ground. I call that, a Sunday stroll. I wouldn't put it that lightly, but I think it's doable in and out. It's also dependent a lot on time. How much time are you there? Are you staying? That makes a big difference. But if you go in to take out some specific targets, some specific places that you have to take out personally, or get some specific people out, target some specific locations, some specific targets that you want to take out. If you do that kind of operation, take out some airports, take out whatever you want to take out. Like, I'm just brainstorming here. Don't take me like as a strategist here. I'm just like off the top of the head. You want to do anything you're gonna do it by September. You don't want it to get to October. October is too close to November. Like, I would rather like anything that's gonna be done by August.
Yeah. We got a generous super chat. Thank you so much, Tao Fei. How do you pronounce that?
Tao Fei.
Tao Fei. Thank you so much for the super chat, saying Vance is good at foreign diplomacy as long as it's normal. IRGC is not normal. It may be that Trump knows his limitations and put him out there for that reason alone. He's naive, a perfect clown to put the IRGC at ease. You know, that, especially the last part, I agree. I do think that President Trump knows that the Islamic Republic knows that JD Vance is not interested in escalating the military operations. So if you want to keep the Islamic Republic busy, you don't send Marco Rubio, right? If you want to basically keep them busy, he's the good cop, right?
Yes.
Is your bad cop. JD Vance is the good cop to the Islamic Republic. So you send your good cop during ceasefire, you send your good cop forward, and then during escalation, you send your bad cop forward. And JD Vance is the good cop to the Islamic Republic.
Do you understand what he means when he says normal? He's talking about NATO, talking to Europe. JD did some good speeches against them. Like, with that kind of diplomacy, he did very well. Like, that's what I'll give him. With the Pope, well, the Pope didn't survive that encounter, but with NATO, he did good.
Yeah, his speech in NATO was pretty badass, to be fair. I don't like JD Vance, but I have to give that to him. I don't like him though. Yeah. The main reason I don't like JD Vance is the way he talks about Israel. That's the main thing that I don't like about him. The main thing that grinds my gears. Is that how you say it? Yeah. By the way, Tafa, thank you so much for a very generous super chat. That's very, thank you.
Really love you, homie.
Yeah, thank you. That's very sweet. And then we have Kelly Fortune with a super chat saying, don't take the media's bait. Okay, don't take the media's bait on JD. I don't agree with him on everything, but I am glad we have him where he is. Trump is in charge. All this other stuff is just meant to divide us and weaken Trump. What do you think about that?
I think this is closer to what I was saying at the start. You get the isolationist right, and you get the unipolar right. The isolationist right doesn't care about being the only power. It only cares about an American power, so it wants to close a deal and just get out of there, right? The unipolar right understands that this is a global economy, it's a global world, and we need to be present in global matters for our strength to be, projected and respected everywhere. So to get both of these sides, you might have JD doing some stuff, Marco doing some stuff, and if you're Trump, you get to sit in the middle and reap both of these votes in.
Yeah, Kelly Fortune. But do you agree that even if that is true, when JD has bad takes, I want to respond to it, and I want to respond to it harshly, right? So
don't eat the shit sandwich.
Does-
You can speak against that shit sandwich. Say, hey, that's a shit sandwich.
Yeah.
Tell everybody. Do you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
the flies on it?
Yeah, you guys agree, like whether or not there's a bigger plan here and President Trump is in charge and he's basically using Rubio and JD Vance where they're needed to with this, but it makes sense. At the end of the day, if JD Vance is coming out and saying stuff that is not true, I have to call it out, and I have to basically push back against it. Do you guys agree with that? And Kelly Fortune, also, do you agree with that? And also the Tao Fei. Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're so right. Okay, good. I mean, come on, you cannot come and criticize Israel and not get a response for that, right?
Well, it's a
Yeah, that's-
delusional take on what Israel is doing. Like, if he had criticism that were based on fact, that's right. But some of his criticism were just fiction. So that's where I would say, like, look, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't like it, right? Like, even when Trump, he was like inaccurate, I saw a bigger play. I saw it as sarcasm, right? Like, look, this is just going to drive Israel and Lebanon together, which ended up happening. You can say it's a 64D Jenga, but that's easy when you're going after the fact and saying, no, this is what's really happened. I predicted it before, so I'm going to take my little monkey victory laugh. Take my little victory laugh, right? Because I was right about that.
Okay, so Kelly Fortune is saying, yeah, it's fair to call him out on anything you disagree with. It's okay to be mad at family and friends. Just don't toss them out. I mean, I can't toss. I mean, how do we toss them like that? I wouldn't even be able to do that. We have what we have. So yeah, we have to deal with what we have. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you though. So Texas is saying there's most definitely a bigger plan. Rubio and Vance are acting their parts. They don't get to have their own agendas. Yep. I mean, they're serving the president. That makes sense. Yeah. All right. Yeah, again, someone saying, I mean, JD is playing a role. Remember, the media isn't presenting the picture. Well, I'm not, when I criticize JD Vance, I'm basically criticizing his own words. No, I'm not criticizing, for example, CNN's analysis of JD Vance. I am criticizing JD Vance's the words that are coming directly out of his mouth. So yeah, but I do agree with you. Anyways, let's see what he says here. Hopefully he says something good here.
So I think what the president has told us to do is use this MOU to sort of refill the world's oil economy. Yeah. To refill some stocks and then to see where the hand is.
And then we could throw out this, we don't toss out JD Vance, but let's use the MOU to fill the global economy with oil. And then after that, we could throw out the Islamic Republic and, we could take the MOU and shove it up the Islamic Republic's ass if we wanted to. Right?
I would guess that every country that needs oil is upping their strategic reserves. Like, I think that oil is down because everybody's buying and saving up. Like, if I was any country that had any type of strategic reserve, I would be filling it. If I was any company that holds any type of oil, I would be filling every reserve, every barrel, every intake I can get. I would be filling it up to the brim. And because of that fill up, that might be another thing that's contributing to oil being so, not going that up. Because if everybody, everybody's buying, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of demand and a lot of supply, so that's what it's kind of stabilizing where it's at. So everybody's buying. Like once you fill your reserve, you're gonna stop buying though.
Yeah. By the way, the whole world should be thanking the United States for keeping them in mind while they're doing war with their main enemy. Like people are like, oh, United States, why are you doing this? This is hurting us. The United States could be like, I don't know, you're hurting. I'm not hurting. My economy is doing fine. But the United States is being so kind, so generous, so benevolent. It's like, okay, let's put a pause here. Go fill up your oil reserves. I'm exaggerating slightly.
I think you're accurate.
And then, and then like go, and then I'll go back to it once you guys are done.
Oh, okay. You
like
guys need oil? Okay, I got you. I got you.
Go
Vance,
fill them up, like,
go clown around, juggle in front of these fools while we get some oil out. Go juggle in front of them. You know, put a little flour on your vest, make it spit water, and do all the little clown tricks to make these people entertained while we get the oil out.
So yeah, I was slightly exaggerating because Amir is saying, Armin, you think it's not USA interest? No, it is also in the US interest. Their oil reserves needs to be filled as well. They need the time for the elections. They need to also refill their missile interceptor. So, but it's also like President Trump's like, let's let the whole world drink some oil and replenish before we go back to this, right? So it's benefit.
There's a lot of layers on this sandwich. The problem is one of those layers is shit, and one of those slices is not so good, makes it hard to eat. But you got to understand that there's a lot of layers to it. You just don't have to eat the whole thing. Like maybe you take that slice out and clean off take the lettuce on top and the lettuce on the bottom of that slice out, and then you can maybe say, you know what, there's something to this sandwich. But that slice that is shit, you don't have to take that shit, okay? You don't have to take it.
Right.
If he's talking bullshit about Israel, you don't got to take that shit. You can be critical of it. You just have to have an understanding that there's a lot of things happening here.
Right? Don't eat that shit. Don't eat it. Tao Fei, thank you so much for another super chat saying to follow any ideology blindly is counterproductive. Yes, exactly. Question everything, study everything, call out what you see as wrong, and listen to others' opinions as well. You know, I do that religiously. More than half of the people I follow are people with views that are completely at odds with me, like 180. And I try to always make sure that I'm following their content as well. And I always try to see if I could see things from their perspective. And even though they have shit takes and shit conclusions, I try to see what is the best steelman for their position, to the point that many times I manage to defend their garbage positions better than them if they give me the opportunity. I have done this so often that I can defend opinions that I disagree with better than most people that actually advocate for it. And I think it's a healthy thing to do. Like, always try to do that. It's a really good exercise.
Understanding the Durka makes you a better Durka strategist than the Durka strategist. And I like to say, when you're looking at objects or subjects, the more perspectives, the better the view.
Exactly. And then Jagatai with a super chat saying, Vance stealing anti-Israel voters from the left. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, for some people, the left is too far gone. This DSA, Democratic National Socialist, I talked about some of the ones that won in New York. These people are too far gone as far as their support for crazy stuff with, maybe how you treat children and how you treat these kinds of things. And the indoctrination. Some people think this too far gone with the economy, but they are kind of anti-Israel. So if you could steal those votes from the left, go ahead and do it.
So I understand as a politician why you need to steal those votes, but I kind of like, it's basically bringing in garbage to your party and ruining the quality of your party. I know that like a job of a politician is to just win elections by any means necessary, but I kind of like, by having these people in your party, it ruins the party. You know what I mean? It ruins the quality of your party.
I mean, you need to use toilet paper, but you're going to throw it away, right? So you don't need to keep the garbage once you have it. You just build better. You know, you just build a better party after you're done with. I mean, you use them, but you don't keep them. You don't have to keep them in your party, right? If the ones that can be convinced, you convinced. The ones that can't be convinced, you can't. I mean, you work with what you can. Some of them you're going to be able to work with. Some, if they've gone far enough that they'll swing, even if it's on that one thing, on whatever one thing it is. If they've gone far enough that they'll swing, like swing voters are a strange animal, but they can evolve. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to dehumanize them. This is a metaphor.
Texas Troop is a swing voter. Okay, last time you were attacking.
No. But but Texas Troop is being a lot. No. I'm talking about other people. This is a smart person. I've heard this person talk. This is not the swing voter. I'm talking about the swing voter that'll do it off a whim, off having a bad day. This is a conscientious person. This is a person that is analyzing the problem. The kind of swing voter I'm talking about is the kind of person that does not analyze. Like, you got to understand, there's different kinds of swing voter. It's not just unipolar. So yeah, we rule. Okay, I know you rule. Okay, calm down. Don't chimp out on me. Oh my God, don't throw bananas at me. Oh well, actually do throw bananas at me. but calm down. It's like, I'm not. Don't take it personal. You're not every swing voter. You're the smart one.
Okay. All right, let's see. Is this a lot more game to play? The good thing is that we're severed by, and let me see.
Could this be a very important historical moment?
We're severed by an administration. Let me see what he's saying here. I think this is a different clip.
Could this be a very important historical moment? The answer is obviously yes. But again, how exactly this plays out is very much contingent on the way that the Iranians respond to the leverage the president has put on them. And if they respond well, I think we're going to look back at this and say, we turned over a new leaf. Now, a lot of people are skeptical, including me, that will ultimately happen. And then if the Iranians perform or behave poorly.
So he's just skeptical. He said, I am skeptical that they would turn on a new leaf. Is that what he just said? We go back a second. I think that's what he just said.
Okay.
Contingent on the way that the Iranians respond to the leverage the president has put on them. And if they respond well, I think we're going to look back at this and say, we turned over a new leaf. Now, a lot of people are skeptical, including me, that will ultimately happen. And then if the Iranians perform or behave poorly, then I think that we still have a lot of leverage points to ensure that this ends up in a place that is good for.
He's saying, okay, we're waiting to see if they turn on a new leaf. I doubt it. So he's basically saying, yeah, I know they're not going to do this.
So we're just basically, so this is actually a good, most of it, except that Persian part. This is not that bad from JD Vance, because he's saying, like, listen, guys, the MOU, we're just using it to fill up the world with oil, and this is probably not going to work out, and we'll fuck them up anyways after, right?
Oh, people are pointing out that he's still saying the Iranians. Yeah, I don't like that. I think BT's making some good points over there.
Yeah. He's still, his language on how he uses it is not, but overall, it's
on
not that
the
bad.
way that the Iranians respond to the leverage the president has put on them. And if they respond well, I think we're going to look back at this and say, we turned over a new leaf. Now, a lot of people are skeptical, including me, that will ultimately happen. And then if the Iranians perform or behave poorly, then I think that we still have a lot of leverage points to ensure that this ends up in a place that is good for America's objectives. So I think fundamentally there's a desire here for everyone to say this is over, or the Democrats and even frankly some Republicans are saying, well, this shows that Trump blinked. And then other people are saying, it's all over. And the Iranians are saying this. And I would be highly skeptical of what everybody says right now. I think Marcos said this the other day. He said, this is the end of the beginning. Okay. There is a lot more game to play. Yeah. And there are a lot more cards that we're going to see, to mix metaphors here. And the good thing about it is that we're served by an administration, we're served by a president of the United States who is constantly trying to figure out how to gain an edge for the American people. I ultimately strongly believe we will look back on this moment and say we got to a good place. It's going to take a lot of work, not just in the negotiation arena, but in the other arenas too.
So he's basically saying, don't judge it like we're just at the end of the beginning. Like, don't judge it yet. Like, there's a lot more to come. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I think I want to go to something that BT said. It's a super chat actually. Said he doesn't look at it as trash. They align with his shit view. Okay, I know where this comes from, and I want to steel man what BT is saying here. The problem with Vance is not just him; it's some of the people around him, right? So we're not going to judge you by your company, but it's going to come into. We're not going to completely judge you by your company, but we're going to take into account his closeness to Tucker and Tucker's kid. I think Tucker's kid used to work for him or still works for him. I don't know. His closeness with Peter Thiel, who also has this kind of views on Israel. So he has a closeness with some people that you know would be very much anti-Israel. And that's kind of where a lot of people are just saying not just his words, just look at the company keeps, look at who he props up, look at what he's doing, and that can be a good reason to say, look, this guy's just got bad company, bad ideas being whispered into his ear. This is not looking good, right? If at some point, hey, he gets rid of these people and says, you know what, I'm sorry, I sold you a shit sandwich. Here is one with a lot of good bacon in it, or hey, he could make a roast beef, that's kosher, right? If he sells you a good sandwich later, I'm okay with that. But like anyone, what's good is good and what's bad is bad.
So this is why I agree with BT June here. I understand the people who are saying that this is a bigger plan by President Trump to use Rubio when needed and JD Vance when it's needed, as good cop, bad cop. Okay. But JD Vance is not pretending to be the good cop that the Islamic Republic prefers. He is the good cop that the Islamic Republic prefers. So I understand that has his use case for President Trump, but I don't think he's acting. I mean, at least the people who vote for him and follow him, I think, makes it so that this actually does represent his views. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think he's not an actor. I think Ronald Reagan was an actor. This guy, I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm not saying he's not going to change his views. Obviously, he might change his views, but I do think that based on the people who support him, he wanting to reflect those people and being their voice, I think this is genuinely his views. But again, that would make him useful to President Trump to be able to get closer to the Islamic Republic for this ceasefire period. Like, if you want to do ceasefire, you don't send Marco Rubio, you send somebody where the Islamic Republic is less threatened by, right? So the fact that this is his view makes him useful to President Trump, at least for now, right?
My problem with him is that he's being like factually not correct, and he can have the position he has. He can like not be super I love Israel in a way that is different. I think I could do his job better than he does. Like, why do you need to do all these things? If you want to distance yourself, if you want to broach the topic in a different way, talk about the effectiveness of this and that, you don't have to lie. There's better ways to do what you're doing. And this is my problem with it. I don't think he's acting. I also think he's ineffective. That's my problem with it, because there's a way to toe the line without being counterproductive. And I think he's counterproductive.
Okay, let's see what he says over here.
The Iranians have not hit ships in the last couple of weeks, and the oil is flowing in the Strait of Hormuz, in part because the president made very clear that if the Iranians hit ships, we were going to hit back. So, it's going to take sometimes the carrot and the stick here. But Laura, I actually think that the United States is in a great position, however the negotiation ultimately shakes out. If the negotiation is successful, which obviously we want it to be successful, you have an Iran that is permanently transformed, that's not funding regional terrorism and instability, that has permanently given up on any nuclear weapons ambition, and that as a result is
Okay, that is delusional to sell the idea that the Islamic Republic will transform to the point of giving up of nuclear ambition. You could force them not to get nuclear weapons, but there's no way to change the Islamic Republic for them to give up that ambition. Like that is just retarded. Like, is he acting or is he being retarded here?
Well, he did put an if in there. So like he's saying, if you don't think this happened, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but there is no chance that is happening.
I agree.
If the Islamic Republic, yeah, okay. So I mean, to even
If pigs fly, if pigs fly, we might have a deal. Who knows?
Yeah, like guys, like maybe the IRGC will stop being such the evil death cult scumbags that are trying to take over the world and will not stop at nothing to get there. Maybe, like, we'll see. Listen, I don't know.
Maybe I'm going to ride a rainbow unicorn in Narnia. You know, if these things happen, then we'll have a deal.
This is crazy. This is crazy, Tux. I mean, this is to even consider that as a possibility, I think it's insane.
Iranians have not hit ships in the last couple of weeks, and the oil is flowing in the Strait of Hormuz, in part because the president made very clear that he.
Yeah, well, you know what would be funny? Next time it's like, the Islamic Republic hasn't hit any ships in the past 5 minutes. I don't know. So that's
I know, right?
Yeah. Also, it hasn't. This is new. In the past couple of weeks, didn't they just had 2 ships? One from Panama and one.
That's
from
what I'm saying. What do you mean 2 weeks? What do you mean past weeks? It's been days.
Yeah, it's been days. What are you talking about here?
If the Iranians hit ships, we were going to hit back. So, you know, it's going to take sometimes the carrot and the stick here. But Laura, I actually think that the United States is in a great position, however the negotiation ultimately shakes out. If the negotiation is successful, which obviously we want it to be successful, you have an Iran that is permanently transformed, that's not funding regional terrorism and instability, that has permanently given up on any nuclear weapons ambition, and that as a result is welcomed back into the world economy. That's a great outcome for the American people. It's a great outcome for the whole region. But Laura, if on the other hand, the Iranians don't behave, if they don't make the concessions in the negotiations that we need to see, their nuclear program is still destroyed, their conventional military is still destroyed, and the United States is still in a much stronger position relative to the Iranians. So my attitude on this.
To do what? Finish that thought. Okay, they're in a stronger position to go blow some shit up.
States
Look,
is still
wait a minute. This guy is military. He knows it hasn't been weeks. It's hard to get past that lie. You're the fucking vice president. You know for a fucking fact that it hasn't been that long. You know it's been 72 hours. You got briefed on this. You're the fucking vice president. You have to be briefed on almost all the same shit the president does in case something happens. He knows it hasn't been weeks. This is what makes him weaker. Why? Because you can do this kind of messaging. You can get that kind of point that you're trying to get across without lying. But he's lying. This is what makes him weaker. Because if you have to use lies to get your point across, it's weaker. Like lying is OP in the short run, but in the long run, you lose credibility.
Okay, but people in the chat are pointing and saying, "Oh, but Trump does that too." And when he does it, you don't call it lying. You call it the art of the deal and bluffing and playing mind games. So how would you respond?
No. Trump is very ambiguous. That's what Trump does that pisses people off. He says this or maybe that, right? I think this. He uses this guy is stating it as a fact. He didn't say I think. He didn't. Trump is strategically ambiguous. That's the difference. This guy is placing no ambiguity, no room for error here. He's stating it as a fact that the IRGC has not, and he said Iran, that the IRGC has not struck in weeks. This is ridiculous. When was the helicopter thing? That wasn't weeks ago. That wasn't like, well, maybe, I mean, there's been more strikes than the one that we just talked about, the Ever Lovely, I think it was. And this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. You don't have to like blatantly lie. There's no caveats here. There's no, it's just a naked lie.
Okay.
position relative to the Iranians. So my attitude on this, Laura, is we have all the cards in the negotiation. We obviously want it to be successful, but even if it's not successful, we've accomplished the core mission, which is to ensure that the Iranians never have a nuclear weapon. In other words, it's a win-win outcome for the American people. And I think because of that, what you see in the room, Laura, is I think evidence of a real push and pull in their system. There are people within the Iranian system who recognize the way that they've done business for 47 years is a mistake, and they want to turn over a new leaf. You also see some resistance.
Oh my God, is he trusting the people from within the regime? Oh my God, he showed up in.
I don't understand. Well, he says he doesn't understand. I don't understand him. He's supposed to understand what he's doing. He's lying. He knows he's lying. This doesn't make any sense to me. I know what he's trying to do, but there are ways to do it without being this retarded.
Right. Like, he just showed up. He hasn't been doing this. He doesn't understand the Islamic Republic. He says he doesn't understand the Islamic Republic. And then there are some people within the regime are like, listen, we're not like those radical ones. We actually want to behave. Can you give us a chance? And he's like, oh, okay, look, there's some rational people here. Like, he's believing them.
That doesn't make any sense. I think, oh my God. Are we doing a comparison? Like, okay, so is Golibov more reasonable than some of the Durka, the Paidaris? Yeah, maybe, but by how much? Like, how was that at the level of a normal negotiating nation anywhere in NATO? They're kind of delusional too, but it's not even close. Like, what are we talking about here? This is ridiculous.
I mean, the Ghalibov camp is more dangerous because the difference between these camps is not what some of them are more radical and some of them are less radical. The difference is that they have the same goal, but they are going about it with different methods, right? And the ones who are being more pragmatic, they're not being less radical. They're being more strategic with how to achieve their crazy radical goals, but with more strategic and pragmatic ways. So if anything, they're all radical, but these so-called pragmatic people are just better at using they have better strategy at achieving that goal, but the goal is the same.
Like, it's easier to avoid the yelping hyena than the snake in the grass, and Golibov is like a snake in the grass. That's what you're like. I don't want to making the analogy to.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
As a monkey, I have to watch out for this stuff.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Some of the old hardliners, some of the old radicals who don't want to change their behavior. Part of what we're trying to do in this negotiation, Laura, is to see how serious they actually are. And to be serious, they've got to not just say the right things, they've got to make real concessions. So whether it's the president, me, anybody else in the negotiation, we care a lot less about what the Iranians say. We care a lot more about what they do. We see some positive signs. Obviously, we see some negative signs. What the president has told us is work the problem, see where the negotiation is going to lead. And if it doesn't lead to a successful resolution on the diplomatic side, we still have a lot of optionality and we've still accomplished a whole lot for the American people.
Okay. Wait, we have another.
Is he saying basically, look, Trump just wants you to keep playing keep playing the deal game, no matter what, keep playing the deal game. You're going to keep playing the deal game, and you're going to keep, and Rubio, you're going to keep working the military game. You're going to keep talking to, Gulf allies, Persian Gulf allies. You're going to keep talking to Iraq. You're going to keep talking to Lebanon. You're going to keep talking to Israel. Vance, your job is to go play deal. You're going to play the deal game and keep playing the deal game, work that problem. If that's what's happening, okay, fine. But you don't need to lie. There's other ways to do this. This is my problem with it.
Oh, look at this. President Trump came out and said something about Iran. Let's listen to that. Let me see. Go over here.
As far as things are going, the denuclearization of Iran is moving along well. They've had very good meetings, and we'll see. We hit them very hard for 3 nights, as you know. but we're getting along very well. So I call it the denuclearization, and it's all taking place. It's all going well. The stock market is setting records virtually every day. The oil price is way down. We're down at 68. I see it hit 68 today. That's lower than when I started the, I guess you could call it an attack on Iran so that they never have a nuclear weapon. So the oil price is now lower. The retail prices, the gasoline is coming down rapidly. As far as
Yep.
Okay, he keeps saying 68, but I think he's not using Brent.
Yeah, guys, the one that we going with is Brent. I think he's doing what's WTI. So
Yeah, I think
there's
that
two
that
different
might.
oil. So there's two different oil prices. We keep the one that we keep citing is Brent because Brent is more relevant to the Middle East. The WTI is more Western. So
So is that the price of oil basically for America a barrel? The
Brent
68.
So let me see. WTI crude oil price USD. That is closer to that is at 68.
Oh,
And the
you know
fact
who
that
knows about this? Texas. Look at Texas in the chat. West Texas Intermediate. Is that what that means? Texas might know
yes.
something about this.
Yeah, and again, when it comes to what Americans use, the WTI is more relevant. I use Brent crude oil price instead because what's being bought to basically to measure the level of impact of the chaos in the Middle East on oil prices. I think Brent crude oil price makes more sense than WTI crude oil price. But again,
Would you call Brent a Persian Gulf area pricing? Like, is that what
it's the whole area,
Saudis? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's interesting that WTI is lower than Brent because that shows that the stability in the West is making it cheaper, right?
That also means that if anyone wants to buy, they'll want to buy WTI and they won't want to buy Brent.
Right. Okay. Yeah, West. Okay, so WTI is West Texas. Brent is more related to what's happening in the Middle East. That's why I look at that. Okay, let's go to anyway. It doesn't matter because as long as you are looking at one of them, they both drop at the same time, right? So if you are just keeping an eye on one of them, as long as you're consistent which one you're looking, you're going to get the same information. Let's go to you want to say something?
I was going to say that it also shows the strength of the American markets and how the American markets can basically onshore some of the trade that is more difficult to have because of insurance and other reasons with the Brent. Right? If you don't want to deal in Brent, because number one, it's more expensive by a couple of cents when you're talking millions of barrels, that matters. Number two, it's a higher risk because to get Brent oil, you have to go over there. So I think this reflects like, why is this oil cheaper? Well, I think it has to do with many factors, but I think it's important to take into account the price of oil in America as a difference to Brent. You're right about being consistent to see the ups and downs. Like if you're going to look at the price day to day, you got to stay consistent with it or look at them both, right? But I think there's something to be said about West Texas. What was it? West Texas Integrate. The West Texas Intermediate. I think there's something to be said of keeping an eye on that. I want to learn more about it. I think that's the best thing I can say about it.
So Brent is a source from the North Sea, serves as the global benchmark for roughly 2/3 of the world's oil, right? WTI, which is West Texas Intermediate, that's sourced from U.S. landlocked fields, primarily in Texas, serves as the U.S. benchmark and is slightly lighter and sweeter than Brent, right?
This also means that the type of things you get from it change. like some of the textiles and some of the plastics, you don't get that from light and sweet. Some of the textiles and plastic, you get that from heavy oil. So there is an effect there. Some people need the Brent because they need it for fabrication.
It's just a benchmark. But anyways, let's go to JD Vance. Let's see what he says here.
If the Iranians try to rebuild the nuclear program, the president's got options, again, because of you. If the Iranians try to threaten their neighbors or fund terrorism, we've got options, again, because of you. But what we must never do is drop bombs just for the sake of dropping bombs. And that is
okay. That is a straw man, isn't it? When have you dropped bombs for the sake of dropping bombs? Isn't that a straw man? Like, did the United States has ever gone and like, we're kind of bored here. We're like, can we go drop some bombs somewhere just for some shits and giggles? Like, what isn't it a straw man? Like, what is this responding
to? This is responding to the people that said we didn't need to attack the IRGC. They weren't a clear and present danger. They didn't have a bomb. We had no.
That was the first part. The second part is like, we shouldn't be dropping bombs for the sake of dropping bombs. When the fuck has that happened?
Well, we were accused of that.
Yeah, but he's accusing you of that. You see that he's accusing the United States of doing that by saying that. Look at this.
It's like, a dumb way to say it, but I think I get what he was trying to say. It's a better way. Like,
I think he is trying to accuse the United States of sometimes using bombs for the sake of dropping bombs. That's what it is. Look at this.
If the Iranians try to rebuild the nuclear program, the president's got options, again, because of you. If the Iranians try to threaten their neighbors or fund terrorism, we've got options, again, because of you. But what we must never do is drop bombs just for the sake of dropping bombs. And that is what the president will never ask you to do.
So
yeah, that's forward. That's not back.
Yeah.
No, I get what you mean. He's going forward with it. He's not. If he was going, what we never did was drop bombs, but for the sake of bombs, I'd say no, because people accused us of that. But being forward with it changes it.
Okay, Lior is giving him a cookie. Yes, guys, dropping bombs for the sake of dropping bombs is bad. Don't do it. Don't do it. Here's a cookie for saying something so brave, so profound. Yes, guys, United States has a long history of just dropping bombs for no fucking reason, and JD Vance is going to put a stop to that. Thank you, JD Vance. Thank you.
He'll ask you to go to war, yes, but when he asks you to go to war, he'll tell you exactly what you're going for, and I think that is what you should expect out of your political leadership.
Oh my God! In fact, you know what?
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Yeah,
the president isn't to the military. If you're talking to the military, that's not political leadership. That's your commander in chief. That's a direct line of command. That's not political. To us, to the military. I'm not in it anymore. To the military, to us, he's not a political. Like, he is the commander in chief. He is part of the chain of command. He is part of the military to the level that he is the commander in chief.
Right. Look at this. I have something interesting for us to watch. Are you excited? Look at what I have. Monkey.
Oh my God. This is like a where the cheese and the ham is turds in a sandwich. It's like,
oh my God. I don't even know what I'm about to see. This was sent to me to review. Guys, people are sending me videos to review, and I'm not pre-watching it so that we could have a raw reaction here with each other together. So let's see what happens here.
Has Donald Trump, in your eyes, has he betrayed the MAGA movement? I mean, by going into such a massive war with Iran, by going against everything he campaigned on, not to do that kind of thing, by not being as transparent with the administration with, say, the Epstein files as they vowed to be before the election, by not taking care of cost of living. You could argue the tariff wars and then the war in Iran, all these things have all contributed to a failure to deal or bring down most prices.
That's not a question, is it? He's making a statement and he's asking it as if it's a question.
In America,
Terrible.
ordinary people. Does that constitute, in your eyes, a betrayal of the campaign pledges that Donald Trump made?
I mean, again, may I remind everybody that President Trump did not take United States into a war. The war between the Islamic Republic and United States started 47 years ago when the Islamic Republic officially declared war against the United States, took hostage U.S. staff in Iran, in the American embassy in Tehran, and chanted death to America ever since, making it the official position of the Islamic Republic, officially saying that their goal is the absolute destruction of the United States, and making it clear all the time in their schools, in their media, in their official government documents that they seek the absolute annihilation of the United States, and they have continuously done so for the past 47 years. And on top of that, they are the regime that has killed more American, both civilians and soldiers, than any currently existing regime in the world. How did President Trump start a war with the Islamic Republic when it was already started 47 years ago?
I'd just like to point out that what he did there, it wasn't a question. Well, it kind of was a question. He made a long statement that framed where he wants to go with the conversation, and then asked her to say yes to this a presupposed statement.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was out on the campaign trail. As an elected member of Congress, a Republican, I think I spoke at more Trump rallies literally than anyone else. And so I was there. I heard the campaign promises. I was involved and I was promising them as well. A big one of them, Piers, was every single Republican campaigned against Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Democrats, attacking them over cost of living, inflation, and affordability. That was one of the big ones. And to me, that's a big pillar of Make America Great Again. My goodness, if Americans can't afford their costs of living and can't afford gas at the pump, can't afford their grocery bills, then that's an utter failure of Make America Great Again. But yeah, the two big ones is the Iran war. We said no more foreign wars over and over again at rally stage after rally stage. President Trump entered office as the peace president, launched the Board of Peace, made himself the president of the Board of Peace with literally no term limits. And then
I say this over and over and over and over again. This is empirically provable. This is not a matter of opinion. This is not even rationalism. This is empiricism. Go study history. Go look at all the data and all the research that has been done on this. The way you get peace is by fucking crushing and destroying the people who bring war. You don't get peace by appeasing your enemy. You don't get peace by negotiating with them. You don't get peace by rewarding them for their aggression. You get ceasefires by negotiating with aggressors and bullies, sure, but you don't get long-lasting peace. The only way you get long-lasting peace is when you fucking fuck up the people who are bullying, who are the aggressors, the people who bring war. You destroy them. You destroy them by war against them, and that is how you bring long-lasting peace. Just look at the difference between World War I and World War II. Just look at what the documents that were signed after World War I. Did that bring peace? No. That's why they call it World War I. Did the destruction of the enemies of the Allies after World War II bring you long-lasting peace? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Look at Israel. If Israel has proven to us every fucking time that they try to show good faith and try to give land to their enemies, to sign with them, to sign peace agreements with them, to even recognize their delusional nation state, every fucking time, you gave You gave Gaza to the so-called Palestinian. What happened? You created you made them more powerful. You made them more able to kill Israelis by giving them Gaza. They told you if you give them Gaza, it shows good faith and they will become de-radicalized. They fucking radicalize even more. And you got October 7th because you gave them Gaza. Every time Israel crushed its enemies and defeated them in the battlefield until they couldn't stand up anymore, they came and signed not a peace agreement, but a fucking surrender agreement with you. You fucking crush them, then you bring them to the table to sign a surrender agreement, not a peace agreement. That's how Israel got peace. Every time Israel was pressured to give up on crushing its enemies, eventually they came back stronger and they killed more Israelis. So people are like, oh, why are you doing war? Didn't you want peace? You get peace with war. Just go study history. You get long-lasting peace by war against your enemies. You fucking win. That's how you get peace.
I'd also like to point out that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a grifter. She will only serve the 5 years necessary to get a pension. As soon as that 5 years was up, she retired in the middle of the job. She didn't even quit till she was done. She just quit and took her pension. That's what she did. She's also being funded by some of the same people that Thomas Massey was being funded. I think this is known as the Mahrukh Mahmoud family. And we have Sam, Rania, Ranim. These people like to donate 7,000, 3,500, 5,000. So this person is being funded by Islamists, and she's in the same camp as Thomas Massey. Yes, she quit, but as soon as she qualified, she quit, and she did get her pension. Like I'm looking up the information here. She only served just long enough to get a pension. She got her pension, and she quit. So I don't trust this person at all. I think she's working with her self-interest, and I think she's grifting.
We got a super chat from Lior saying Happy Canada Day, Armin June. Well, Lior, Happy Canada Day to you as well, Lior. And let's save Canada from Islamization. Yay. Hopefully one day, maybe. Thank you, Leo. And yes, guys, happy Canada Day to all the Canadians. Okay.
Keep hope alive, Canada.
Keep hope alive, yes. All right, let's continue.
And it was weeks later launched into this war with Iran. So that is outrageous. That is a broken campaign promise. I don't care how many times he says Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and I'm not promoting that either. However, what we have seen this turn into is a war who controls the strait and working on controlling the oil prices. It's rigging the market practically every single week in and out while the bombing campaigns happen on the weekends. But you also touched on a big one, Piers, and it is the Epstein files. He was the biggest defender of the Epstein files, and he worked the hardest and put his thumb on everyone. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and
the Epstein files ended up being and nothing that people said it was as exactly as they predicted. What we know about the Epstein files is that Jeffrey Epstein himself is a garbage person that deserves all the punishment, and the person that was the woman and the people who were working with him to go get those children to bring to him. Those were the people who were doing all those evil shit. All this, the world elites, the bankers, the politicians. That was all exaggerated. It was also motivated
Democrats.
by this whole. Yeah,
There was a lot of Democrats in touch with Epstein, all the way up to when he was already arrested.
It
This is a
doesn't
lot of
matter
Democrats.
who's in touch with him. What was the people who were proven to be guilty was him, his partner, and the people who were basically finding girls from. Nobody else we had evidence for actually committing any crime. In fact, President Trump and the Epstein files shows that he was helping the FBI when it comes to against Jeffrey Epstein. So just because you're on the files, it doesn't mean you're fucking guilty. President Trump was actually involved in helping the investigation against Jeffrey Epstein. But I think a lot of the motivation behind all of this fucking conspiracy theories that are making this bigger than it was because he was Jew, and it basically has all the anti-Jewish tropes with like children, controlling politicians from behind the scenes, having
Claiming his
leverage.
Mossad.
He's Mossad. It's basically, it has everything that the anti-Jewish people on the left and the right want, right? Children being abused, which has always been the main go-to with anti-Jewish conspiracies.
Cannibalism.
And controlling politicians and rich people from behind the scenes. That's also it has basically everything that the anti-Jewish people want. That's why they made it bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what I think it is.
Look, I'll say on it, like if you go into the documents, if you really look at it, the majority, if we're going to talk about it, okay, so this is the topic. Which were the politicians that were in touch with Epstein? It was more than anyone, Bill Clinton. There were others seeking funds, some of them serving in office, still serving or having served very recently, and in communication with him all the way up to when he was in jail, like Prince Andrew, like some of the royal people. But if we're talking about American politics, if the accusation is that he had some motivation to hide the Epstein files, no. The reason none of this came up during the Biden administration, remember, Trump, the Trump administration were the ones that put him in jail, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then he died. Okay, so during the Biden administration, they had Cory Booker. Yeah, during the Biden administration, they had all these files. They did not release a single one. Why do you think that is? When we looked at the files, it's because a lot of these peoples were tied to the funding, like a lot of funders of the Democrat Party, and some of the politicians in the Democrat Party, especially the Clintons, were deeply tied to Epstein. So this is a purposeful
That's true. But I just want to make sure, like, just because you have tied to Epstein, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've been fucking kids. It does. It could mean that you've been. It could mean that, I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, people, if you want to, fuck the Democrats, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, people should just wait for genuine, like, hard evidence before they accuse anybody of anything, right? That's
I am talking about hard evidence. She's lying. She knows that the hard evidence points to the Democrats.
Of course she's lying. I know she's lying. I know she's lying. But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to child abuse, the only people that we have hard evidence for is Jeffrey Epstein, his partner, and the co-conspirators who are going around and basically getting kids for him. Right? That's the only thing the files show. Anyways, let's see what obviously she's lying. She's a fucking liar. But let's continue.
Everyone to stop the release of the Epstein files, to the point where Thomas Massey, myself, Nancy Mason, Lauren Boebert had to sign a discharge petition.
Surprise, surprise. Exactly, the anti-Jewish people. Is that a coincidence, guys? Is that a coincidence that these are the same people who are anti-Jewish?
With all of the
same people paid by the Marouk family.
Nancy Mason, Lauren Boebert had to sign a discharge petition with all of the Democrats to get it released. And, I can't leave out the Democrats. They never cared about the Epstein files until we made it an issue and they found out, this is a political problem for Donald Trump. So they don't deserve.
The Epstein files made Donald Trump look good if you actually look into how he's mentioned in the Epstein file.
Credit for being a champion of that issue. However, they deserve credit because they actually worked to get the files released. But Donald Trump is still fighting releasing the files. The files are not released. And that to me is shocking. We're talking about elite rapists and pedophiles. And they're how do you know that? Where's your fucking evidence? Just because, how do you know? Don't make false accusations against people unless you have hard evidence. Hard evidence. You can't just be like, they're oh my God. I don't know. This is retarded. Still no accountability and no justice for the victims.
Anyways, let's go here. Okay. Let's go from one.
Another point is that a lot of people were falsely accused and they were released.
Yeah.
And so lumping in the false accusations with the real ones. A lot of these accusations started when Trump came to office and claiming things about 20, 30 years ago, right? Well, yeah, at least 20 years ago is kind of wrong, especially if these people are only accusing people of a certain party. There's no evidence, and when you look at the records, they weren't even in the same state. The dates don't align with the places, didn't even exist at the time. Like there's some claims about a golf club. That golf club hadn't even been built yet, and these person are claiming that things happened there. These people were not living in the place. They're basically just making up lies. Like when you make up a lot of accusations and you don't care if they get disproven, because once the accusation is out there, it's out there. That's what a lot of was being held back.
All right, let's go to this card. You know where this is? This is in Chicago. Okay, so let's see.
I thought we were watching foreign Durka. This is local Durka.
This is local Durka. This is Chicago. Let's see what he says.
Unfortunately, these days we don't repeat this enough, or we don't have this aqidah concept firm in our minds that Islam did not come to coexist. Islam لا يعلى. Islam يعلو ولا يعلى عليه. Islam is raised high and nothing is raised above Islam. We can't think of Islam that it came to live with these other religions, in the sense that Islam is a religion amongst those religions, and they have a share with the truth, and they have a share of justice, and they have a share of, this worship of Allah, the correct worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Islam came to correct all of that. Islam came to remove the oppression of all those religions, and it is the only truth, and it is the only way to justice.
Okay, so basically announcing public, this is a recent video, by the way. This is, they're telling you that we're coming here to take over, to make everything Islam. That's what he's saying.
This is a radical claim. This is basically a war cry.
This is a war cry. They're like, no, guys, we're not here to say that we're equals to you. We're better than you, and we're here to replace you. They're saying it. And it's true. Like, that is what Islam is. As the text in the Quran directly says that.
I think the only comparable of cancer virus bacteria is communism. Like these two, and Islamo-communism, when they combine, that's the worst. But each one by themselves is pretty bad.
Right. This is, guys, your enemy is telling you what their plan is. Believe them when you tell you that. This is the direct, he's right. Like that's what Islam teaches. Oh, look, we got 2 super chats. Sammy, thank you so much for a super chat saying Happy Canada Day. Armin John Aziz Javisha, Happy Canada Day to you as well, Sammy. Thank you so much. And guys, yes, let's save Canada from Islamization and the CCP influence. The Canada needs help. Canada is being Islamized, and Canada is getting infiltrated by the CCP. So Canada needs your help. This Canada Day, just remember that Canada needs help. And thank you, Sammy.
Yes, all the patriots in Canada, you stay true to your culture, you stay true to your maple syrup, and you tell them what it's about.
Oh my God. Thank you for that. All right. And then we got Fickle Nut with a super chat. Thank you so much, Fickle Nut, saying, dumb question, but if the Dems were in for 4 years, why didn't they release the files before Trump was sworn in? Serious question. Monkey, you go. Yeah, you got that.
Oh, well, I think it's because they were strongly implicated. I think that's why they did it. I think they had the files. My theory, and I can show you articles that state this from the press, and not just like Joe Blow's news outlet, that they were actually hiding the files, the Democrats, and shredding the files, getting rid of the evidence. Why would they do that? Because it implicates them. If they accuse Trump of 34 counts of someone paid someone in my name without asking me. That's not a felony. They turned it up into a felony without giving a reason. If they had him on anything in those files, they would have arrested him. You have to understand 34 counts of someone paid someone without asking me, and they admit they never asked me. That's what they got him on. And it's a book entry. It doesn't make sense. If they had any evidence in those files, they would have used it.
Okay, let's go to another. We went from a local Durka. Let's go to a Lebanese one, a Sunni Lebanese one, and I don't know what
International Durka. Okay.
Yes, international. Well, international for you. For them, it's local. All right, let's see what he's saying. So somebody's saying, who killed Khamenei? Ali Khamenei.
He has a bowl on his head. Looks like a fruit bowl, right? Like I have a bowl in my house that looks just like this. I'm like, oh my god, he has my bowl. I want to put fruit in it. I could just imagine like some oranges, an apple, maybe some grapes, pineapple in there.
Banana, don't forget banana.
No, I'm eating the banana.
Oh my god. Anyways, wait, you know what? I don't want to read all of this. I'm just gonna read this up the main point. So it's saying Khamenei, the main point he made is Khamenei is not a martyr. He is a murderer who killed more Sunnis than Israel killed in Gaza. We have the right to seek revenge against him and his followers. Al-Shara crushed the skulls of all those big shots and restored Damascus to the Sunnis. So this is some Sunni versus Shia stuff.
Hey,
I haven't seen. Yeah.
If he wants to crush the leaders of the IRGC, well, you know what? Alhamdulillah, inshallah.
Monkey, we have to be careful, okay? Because Durka versus Durka violence, many times in the history, it seemed like, oh, okay, well, let's support that Durka that is attacking the other Durka. But it ended up long term, it ended up backfiring, Like, for example, this whole, if they're doing it on their own without our support, like, yeah, we could like watch and celebrate, right? But we have to be careful.
We're not supporting any of this Durka violence. They're doing it on their own. We're not suggesting this. We're just watching what they say.
Yes, because remember, 9/11 was made possible because of United States supporting the people that eventually became the Taliban against some other, people in Afghanistan.
Mujahideen?
Right? Mujahideen, yes. The proto-Taliban people.
I saw Rambo 3. I know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you have to be careful with that. Anyways, guys, I need to go eat before we go to our discussion group. So either join our discussion group and come talk to us over there. I'll put the link in the chat. Guys, make sure you subscribe to this channel and also Monkey's channel. But also, beyond subscribing to Liberty Politics and Monkey's channel, which I will give the link to you soon, make sure you join our discussion group. It's free to join. Our discussion group is free to join. There are different activities that you could do there. Some of them are open to all. Some of them are for premium and VIP members. So the link is in the chat. The link to our discussion group is in the QR code in the top left. It's also in the bio section of the YouTube channel Liberty Politics. It's right over here. But beyond coming into the group and talking to us there, you could also just watch it live. Like in 20 minutes, when we go live, you could just watch it live here and just follow our group call and the discussion that we're having over there. So do one of those, right? Monkey, you're going to be there with us in 20 minutes? Monkey? Is Monkey? Monkey's sleeping. Monkey's gone. Oh, I need to promote Monkey's channel. I don't know why. he's messing-
I'm going to put in the link to my channel, to your channel. Make sure it's in here, and we want you guys to head on over there and talk to us. I
Yeah,
will
I'll-
be there.
Don't worry. Okay. Hold on. This is. Let me see how many subscribers you have now. Monkey's channel is at 280. So, guys, we're trying to get Monkey's channel to 1,000 subscribers. I'll put the link to his channel in the live chat. It's Motorpool Grease Monkey. So go support him so that we could get him to 1,000 so he could monetize his channel. And thank you for everybody who's doing that. I saw a lot of you were watching it. 28 people were watching the show from your channel today. So that's good. Thank you, guys.
That is awesome, and I
All right, guys.
appreciate you guys.
Yes. All right, guys. This is us. Thank you for everybody who supported us. Guys, there are other ways to support us as well. You could just like. Did you guys know that there is no price for liking the stream? It's a secret. Don't tell anybody. You could support this channel with a low price of $0.00 by liking the stream. So
And commenting.
and commenting and
We
subscribing.
want to know what you think. That's, we want to know what you think. It doesn't cost anything, and the algorithm loves it.
Yes. Yeah, Casey's saying, isn't today VIP? Yes, today is VIP, so you could watch it on YouTube. Casey, you're VIP. Yeah, if you're not VIP, Casey, I will make you VIP because you have been here forever. But yes, today is VIP. All right, so I'm gonna go eat really quickly and get ready for that. And yeah, so until 20 minutes from now, I'm gonna miss you guys. Don't cry. I know it's going to be a hard, very difficult 20 minutes for all of you to bear being away from me for that long, but I promise I'll be back. Okay? Don't cry. It's going to be okay. I'll be back. Okay? And until then, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukrainie, Cuba Libre, Long Live America, Javid Shah, Payande, Iran. Mwah.
Peace.
See you guys soon. Peace.